Well, I might have to have my eyes poked out. Garrett, I'm getting a echo back and forth. Thank you. I watched the first episode of the Katie Couric talk show. There's all these new talk shows. What's his name? Jonathan Probst. No.
Oh, Jeff.
Jeff Probst.
Jeff Probst. I'm sorry.
What about Steve Harvey?
You know what? That'll be a great show. No, there's no way it's not.
How do you feel about Ricky Lake?
Stupid.
Go, Ricky.
Ridiculous.
She's getting a new show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Finally.
Right.
She's still
so Kevin Meaney is here, and he's on the telephone. Why aren't you here live?
Well, my wife was arrested, and she's in jail.
All right. So you had to take care of the kids.
She's actually in New Zealand, and I had to. And Kate didn't want to come home alone. I said, you can go home alone. She goes, I don't want to go home alone.
Wow.
Freaked out this morning. So I said,
well, I was listening to Covino and Rich, and they were advocating beating the young and spanking and humiliating the little girl. And then you humiliate girls, but for boys, you have to hit them and be like the dad from Wonder Years, my friend Dan Lauria. And I'm listening to this going...
Pat Robertson, maybe become a Muslim and beat up your wife.
Do you see that?
Who beat up his wife?
Did you read about that?
No, what?
Oh, I'm sending it to you right now.
Somebody wrote into Pat Robertson and said his wife wasn't obeying him, and she was being disrespectful to the husband. Mm-hmm. So Pat Robertson said, well, you know what you should do? You should become a Muslim. And this way you can beat your woman.
Beat her.
Beat her.
Well, hold it a second. He was saying that, sarcastically.
No, not sarcastically at all. First of all, he's not the sarcastic type. He doesn't do anything sarcastic.
All right, hold it 1 second. Tell me again what the letter said so that you always want to read the worst. The people that really...
I've been with my girlfriend.
Hold on a minute.
I'm getting married. Here's the thing. I'm a Christian. She's a Muslim. People have told me to break it off with her, but she seems open to the faith, and I'm worried that leaving her will turn her off to Christianity, and it isn't exactly Christ-like. What do you think?
Yes, it is Christ-like. Be not unequally joined together, yoked together with the unbelievers. In the Old Testament, they were forbidden to intermarry with the heathen. Now, this girl sounds very sweet, and it may be that, you can, out of the love that you have, that she'll accept the Lord.
But they've dated for 3 years.
Well, he obviously hadn't had much of an impact on her.
Yeah.
But no way. I mean, she'll want to do her Muslim thing, and you'll want to do your Christian thing, and there'll be a constant struggle and strife. Mm-hmm. Walk away. But
that's right.
maybe that she will come to the Lord. Why don't you get in prayer and say, I love this girl. I ask, Lord, that you would bring her to yourself, that she would know the love of God. Mm-hmm. And if that doesn't work, then say, I'm sorry.
Where does he say beat her?
But no, it's not Christian to walk away from somebody.
Hold on.
They actually took that off the broadcast.
Hold on 1 second. When does he say beat them?
Hold on.
Where does he say
Here it comes. She insults me. She even went as far as stretching her hand to beat me. I've lost my self-confidence. Her words hurt so much, and she refuses to talk through our problems. Please tell me what I can do.
Well, you could become a Muslim, then you could beat her.
But in lieu of that.
Now, Garrett, you don't do this, but you've got to send this to Al, at least for the Stern Howard 101 show. That's the drop of the century. That is the way you could. By the way, Kevin, as Southerners get old, they all sound like Bill Clinton.
I was actually going to say that he sounds so much like Bill Clinton right there, doesn't he?
But what's funny is that a few minutes ago, I've never been able to do Clinton, but as I'm listening to Pat Robertson and I'm thinking, wow, he sounds like Bill Clinton, but he couldn't do that when he was a young man. Even as you get older from the South, you start to sound like Bill Clinton. So Bill was an old soul, long before, he was the president and everything else.
Soul.
He might have been a black. That's right. So now the woman laughed at Pat Robertson. Obviously, it was a joke.
No,
and the
it
letter,
was not a joke.
It was.
No,
He even
it
made
was-
a joke face.
Hold on a second. Everyone be quiet. Garrett, God, I wish I was standing next to you right now. You're going to have to take a picture, Cristina, of the joke face, and that will have to be put on every one of our social media sites as soon as possible. How much time do you think you'll need to be able to get the joke face going for yourself? Like if you made a certain face, I would know that was a joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a face you would make.
Your eyes are open wide, and your
Right.
lips are pursed.
Wow.
Like this?
Sounds
Yep.
sounds like Lance Bass going down to the pastrami sandwich. That's what it sounded like.
Jay.
Yeah, Lance Bass will be there in a few minutes.
Yeah, it also says, however, since the scripture doesn't allow for divorce, Robinson urged the husband to move to Saudi Arabia, where ostensibly beating the woman would be permissible.
That's true. So that's true. So are you saying that he really what he was really doing was, as you know, I mean, as a comedian yourself, he's redirecting a joke. He's redirecting an insult. He's really trying to insult the Muslims. It's like I used to say, and it would get everybody really angry at Fox, you want to go someplace with no taxes? And they go, yeah, Iran has no taxes. And that would get them all pissed off.
And so
Now,
is New Hampshire.
No, New Hampshire has taxes. I'm talking about countries that don't have taxes.
Okay.
And that get them all angry. Go to
They don't have
Iran.
state taxes.
They don't have taxes in Iran, okay? So that's me insulting the no tax group, right? And I'm using Iran as an obvious, horrible place. So the guy is really saying the wife is horrible. And if you want to be stuck with this horrible wife, you should move to Saudi Arabia. The guy sounds like a complete idiot, or that's a fake letter that somebody
Also,
wrote
he
or
said-
they made up.
He also said,
Yeah.
I don't think we condone wife beating these days, but something has got to be done to make her.
To make her what?
It doesn't say. It was the end quote right there.
Make her?
Yeah, make her, become submissive to him and to obey him.
Not submissive, to stop being a bitch Muslim, a Muslim bitch, period. Like if a Muslim person said, I'm being kind to my Christian husband, but he treats me badly, then Pat Robertson, what would he have said to the Muslim woman? He would have said something different. He might have said, well,
Take a beating.
your husband, you should be used to a good beating. That's what he would say to the Muslim lady. So, I think it's funny. I don't think he gets in trouble for it. He's not an idiot.
Just
And
met with Romney the other day, Pat Robertson. And then
Well,
he
of course
goes
he
out
did.
and he says this. I mean, what kind of a party are the Republicans?
what difference does it make? No one gives a shit about all that. They either hate the president's economic plan, or they hate him because he's black and he's going to give all the money to, black people and Hispanic people that don't work. Okay. That's the only reason why they're not going to vote for him.
He said,
or they hate gay marriage. Wait a second. Or they hate, all the stuff that the Democrats like. That's why you vote for Romney. You don't give a shit whether he's friends with Pat Robertson or not. That doesn't. If you hate Pat Robertson, it has nothing to do with you voting for Mitt Romney. Nothing.
But
Yes,
he
go
said,
ahead,
I
Christina.
don't think we condone wife beating these days, but something has got to be done to make her. It's just falling into suit of...
To make her what?
To make her fall in line.
Yeah, fall in line.
Okay.
Down.
All right, what would you do? What would you do, Kevin, as a gay Christian man? What would you do if your Muslim boyfriend was giving you a bunch of shit and you didn't want to leave them? And how would you straighten it out over there?
Well, I left my wife because she wouldn't let me beat her. So she beat me up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, look, you know what the guy's going to say. He's an old fart. Then they have the woman sitting there who laughs at everything he says. She is totally submissive. She never says, "Oh, Pat," like that, right?
Oh, stop it, Pat.
She never does that. Whatever he says, he said, you know what? There must be a website, Garrett, of Pat Robertson's gaffes.
Oh, there's got to be.
You know, it'd be funny, Kevin, if they showed him standing with various fish gaffes. You know, those hooked things? Just
Yeah.
You like that? Jay Thomas's various gaffes, and it just, all right. But anyway, while we're looking for all that stuff, these talk shows have begun.
Did you like her?
No, well, I'll tell you what's sad.
I didn't like her dress. I thought it was too long. Mm-hmm. I thought she should have shortened it. She was below the knee. Mm-hmm. She only wore earrings, and she didn't have any other jewelry on.
Hey, Garrett, when I'm watching a talk show, I usually don't worry about the dress the woman has on.
You didn't notice like the blue dress?
No.
I have the top 10 gaffes if you want to hear some.
Oh, we do have the top 10 gaffes of Reverend Pat Robertson. Go ahead.
This is Andreas, who says, I have a friend whose wife suffers from Alzheimer's. She doesn't even recognize him anymore, and as you can imagine, the marriage has been rough. My friend has gotten bitter at God for allowing his wife to be in that condition, and now he started seeing another woman. He says that he should be allowed to see other people because his wife, as he knows her, is gone. I'm not quite sure what to tell him. Please help.
Oh, that is a terribly hard thing. It is. I hate Alzheimer's. It is one of the most awful things because here's the loved one. This is the woman or man that you have loved for 20, 30, 40 years, and suddenly that person is gone. They're gone. They are gone.
Gone.
So what he says basically is correct, but I know it sounds cruel, but if he's going to do something, he should divorce her and start all over again. But, to make sure she has custodial care and somebody looking after her.
But isn't that the vow that we take when we marry someone? That it's for better, for worse, for richer, for poor? I know if you respect that vow, but you say till death do us part, this is the kind of death. I certainly wouldn't put a guilt trip on you.
Wow. Well, that's just one gaffe.
That's not too bad, though.
That wasn't bad at all. You have another one?
Yeah. There we go.
Well, I mean, hold on one second. Hold on.
You should divorce her.
Yeah. First of all, that was the most controversial thing. He also, didn't he come out recently and say that he didn't think marijuana should be a felony or even an offense? That, it's like these old guys.
I kind of like him now.
That's the only thing I like about him.
The thing is, though, and it must be wonderful, that you have this. I read an interesting psychological article the other day that said liberals, people that are liberal, and even the hippies and people that, live a lifestyle that we consider liberal, forget politically, but people, they are less frightened of things, and they have a tendency to not need to be in control as much. And I'm talking about like people that are truly liberal and truly accepting, right? Not political. Mm-hmm. People that are conservative, and I'm not talking politically, I'm talking about personality. People that are conservative are more frightened of things that are going to happen, like people that are really frightened when their children go out at night. You will find that these people are generally, it sounds crazy, they are more conservative in their thinking, and they're more conservative even in their politics. They are just nervous that there is an element that's going to, attack you at every moment. And you know that from your grandparents, from what? The Depression, right, Kevin? Depression grandparents, remember that?
Right. Oh, God.
And they were frightened, and they became, they might have been liberal politically, but they were conservative when it came to your behavior and everything else. So you'll now look, I'm a frightened guy. I live in a constant state of fear, and if I had ever become really famous, I would have written a book called Motivated by Fear, because I can't remember ever being motivated by anything else other than fear from the moment I began, moving my limbs around and gaining consciousness. It's just, and it's awful. And I'm conservative. Don't you think? Would you tell your friends I'm a liberal or a conservative, Kevin, when you and I talk?
I would say that you're more of a moderate. You're in between. Well, you are. You are, sometimes you're, right down the line as a Democrat. Other times you're a liberal. Other times you're a crazy fucking Republican.
There you go. So that's now that was a very rude way of saying, Garrett, that I have a conservative personality. Very rude. Very rude. Well, crazy fucking Republican was unnecessary. I didn't even give you that option. Garrett, did I give him the option of crazy fucking Republican? Was that one of the check boxes?
I didn't hear that, no.
I didn't hear it either. Let's go back to Pat Robertson's gaffes. Here we go.
Christy, something happened a long time ago in Haiti. And people may not want to talk about it. They were under the heel of the French, Napoleon III and whatever. And they got together and swore a pact to the devil. They said, we will serve you if you'll get us free from the French.
Wow.
And so the devil said, okay, it's a deal. And they kicked the French out. The Haitians revolted and got themselves free. But ever since, they have been cursed by one thing after the other, desperately poor. That island of Hispaniola is one island. Mm-hmm. It's cut down the middle. On the one side is Haiti. On the other side is the Dominican Republic. Yeah. Dominican Republic is prosperous, healthy, full of resorts, etc. Haiti is in desperate poverty. Same islands. Sure. They need to have, and we need to pray for them, a great turning to God. And out of this tragedy, I'm optimistic something good may come.
Now, let me ask a question. Was there a constitutional signing of a pact with the devil by the Haitians? I don't remember that in my history classes. Kevin, Garrett, can you bring, or Cristina, is there something online that shows the document with the picture of the devil and the red pen? And
I'm sure it's like kind of a voodoo country.
Oh, that's what he means, that it had voodoo, but he'll say that about New Orleans too then, wouldn't he?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When the hurricane hits New Orleans, when tragedy strikes New Orleans, he probably feels that way also, because we are a debauchery-filled area.
Yeah, so I think he actually said something about when Katrina hit. There was some, it was like God's way of cleaning up the dirtbag people of New Orleans,
I don't believe in God, but I've said this before, and it sounds awful to people, but it's true. When my wife had cancer, I one day was, positive she was going to die, and it was awful. And I said, listen, if you let her live, I will never ask for anything again, and I will accept whatever position you give me. And when I said that, I was making so much money and had so much popularity, it was unbelievable. She lived and got much better, and I know this sounds awful, but I have had okay salaries and an okay position in the world since then.
I'm sorry.
And I know it sounds crazy, and it may sound like the ravings of some sort of megalomaniac, but Kevin, I'm not joking. I'm not kidding. It wasn't like a gradual decline. It was literally within a month, stuff that I'd had for years went away, and jobs were lost. I mean, it was unbelievable, and I didn't think about it until about a year or so ago. And I'm not kidding. It was the craziest thing. Now, what do you think the devil caught my, my wish by accident, Kevin?
No, I think God helped you.
Would that be a pact with the devil because I promised?
Did you pray to the devil or to God?
I prayed to God. I prayed to whatever spirit, but perhaps without even knowing it.
I think of a Mack truck as if you're driving the car, Jay, and all of a sudden a Mack truck is in your lane coming towards you. You go, oh, please, God, get that truck out of my lane.
Yeah, but that's. I mean, I sat down and had a discussion and made a real promise, and of course, here's what's funny: it wasn't any promise that I had to keep. It happened without. I couldn't do any, I'll never drink again, right? Well, then you can drink if you want to. There's no way I can regain that kind of financial stability and that kind of popularity. There's no way you can do it, And I mean, Kevin, sure things that people had signed me for, out the window. Somebody said, "Oh, well, that's because you're a negative thinker." I go, "I'm not a negative thinker. I see shit and go, man, this is the one. This is it. Win the award, and then nothing. Yeah, it's odd. And I'm very happy my wife is okay. The problem is I'm going to be really upset.
Didn't she just fall down recently?
Yeah, I didn't have to beg for that one. I would have begged for that one. She's doing good. I really didn't make any statement after that, Garrett.
No. You just said, "Oh my God, make sure that she gets better pot."
No, I wasn't gonna make any more deals. If I lose her, I lose her.
It worked out once. Test your luck.
Yeah, come on. I gave up, quite a bit already.
Jay, we're here in New York, and it's the anniversary of 9/11, of course, the 11th anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Never forget. It's impossible not to forget.
I can't forget about this one. If you can just give me one chance to tell you this story. A friend of the family was this horrible, horrible alcoholic, and was drunk every day, and they had a couple of kids, and the wife was just miserable about every night. He would come home just bombed, but somehow he kept his job and kept the family afloat. But he was just a complete lunatic, and he was working at the World Trade Center. And, the buildings came down, and she was at home with the kids, and she was going, "Well, he's gone. That's for the best." And she was, so happy and relieved that he had died in the World Trade Center. And, I guess at 3 o'clock in the morning, he comes back home, completely smashed and just covered in the white powder. He goes, "I made it, I'm home."
That is the best 9/11 story I have ever heard. God.
Miserable. Now, since then, a few years later, he stopped drinking. Now they're very happy and they're back together, but she wanted him dead so badly.
Now, and we'll continue with Pat Robertson in a moment. This sounds like a joke, but it was told by the man who now runs this entire company, and I was working with him, and we were at a radio station about 15 years ago, and the salesman to the station used to always go out, and it was no internet or anything, and you're out there really selling, and they saw this guy that they knew from another station. And he was at the Oak Room or whatever it is. What's that famous hotel that
the Oak
Trump
Room
now?
At the Plaza.
At the Plaza. And he's stumbling drunk in the lobby of the Plaza Hotel coming out of the Oak Room. So this guy and his buddies go, "Hey, car," and deposits him under the lamp of the front door and drives away. And about 3 weeks later, this guy's walking down the street and he sees this guy and he goes, "What the fuck were you guys doing?" He goes, "What do you mean?" "Well, my wife had thrown me out. We're in the midst of a divorce. And you guys put me in a cab and dropped me off." He said she has a restraining order against me. And that sounded like a joke, but it was a true story. And what you just told me is the same thing. It's like it's impossible when you can't wait to get rid of somebody. Oh my God, yeah. Jesus. What about the guys that were fucking or the women and they called home and hadn't been watching TV? That supposedly happened to hundreds of people in that building. Had not been watching television, were getting laid, and were going to go into work at 10 o'clock or whatever, and they call home and the wife or the husband's going, or the boyfriend, what do you mean? I'm so worried. What do you mean? I was at work all morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was at work all morning.
Or the Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where someone that Larry met their son got hit by a car on September 11th, and they kept trying to,
God.
get in on the tragedy. And whenever it was brought up, they're like, "Don't bring up September 11th. My son died on that day."
Oh my God, that was an episode of the show?
Yeah, Larry was like, "Yeah, but he got hit by a car. It had nothing to do with the tragedy."
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Kevin, don't you think sometimes if you tell a joke or write a script about something awful about children that it would reflect badly on the karma of your own children? Do you? I feel that way.
Yeah. Well, I kind of do a joke about my daughter, and they say, "What did you name her?" And I said, Jean Benet.
Yeah, that is a tough joke.
And then now, and that was like 13 years ago that I wrote that joke. That was a couple of years after she was murdered.
Right.
Now she's 13, and somebody will come up to her and say, "Hey, are you little Jean Benet?" "I'm not Jean Benet. It's not even funny."
Wow.
She gets all upset. And then she asked me once, she goes, "Who is Jean Benet, Daddy?" I go, "She was killed on Christmas."
Oh, my God.
Nobody found her killer.
But now she brings you presents.
I did
She's gonna be a good girl.
I did a TV movie that was big. It was called Killing Mr. Griffin. And I played Mr. Griffin, and I was this asshole teacher. And it ran on CBS before Lifetime was even just starting, I guess. The woman that wrote the books, and you might have read these books, Cristina. She was find the woman that the books are from, Garrett. She wrote 2 or 3 books, and in each one of them, really bad stuff happened to these kids at this high school. And after one of her biggest books, her daughter did die, or a tragedy struck her daughter that was almost like in the book. And I could not write a book or a movie or anything, Kevin, where kids die. I couldn't write a book where a guy's son is killed or something. I would be frightened to write that. When the woman that wrote Lovely Bones about was it an aborted child or was it was a dead child who had been killed by a molester. And she tells the story from heaven or the other side or whatever. I found that book repugnant. And when they made it into a movie, it was not a hit at all. And I see her writing and talking all the time. She sickens me. I mean, that is an unnecessary, to me, and I know this sounds very conservative, that is an unnecessary genre to get into, the dead child talking from beyond. I mean, man, oh man, that's bad. That's how do you write that shit? How do you write the story of her being murdered by a molester? It's fiction, but I don't see how they do it. I don't know. Now, Garrett, in these movies where like Smiley, have you seen Smiley, by the way? That's the greatest new monster out there.
No.
When the women in those slash films are killed, they're the girls that wouldn't have dated me in high school or in college. Mm-hmm. So as the knife is being plunged into their chest, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
If you're really gorgeous and you're dumb with a great body and you're being, murdered in fiction in the movies, that I could write.
Well, that's a good thing. That's your shadow speaking. So when you go to therapy, like a therapist or a psychiatrist will tell you that it's good to go see like a slasher movie or a violent movie because it will help you deal with your life a little bit better without having to, lash out.
Kill yourself. That's like, so those people that shunned me when I was young, they're being metaphorically killed, and so I don't have to do it.
Yes.
Thank you. Like Ted Bundy. Garrett, play more of Pat Robertson, please. The great Reverend.
The idiot.
Great Reverend.
It's not my Reverend.
I have said last year that Israel was entering into the most dangerous period of its entire existence as a nation. That is intensifying this year with the loss of Sharon. Sharon was personally a very likable person, and I am sad to see him in this condition. But I think we need to look at the Bible And the book of Joel, the prophet Joel, makes it very clear that God has enmity against those who, quote, divide my land. God considers this land to be his. You read the Bible, he says, this is my land. And for any prime minister of Israel who decides he's going to carve it up and give it away, God says, no, this is mine. And the same thing, I had a wonderful meeting with Yitzhak Rabin in 1974. He was tragically assassinated. It was a terrible thing that happened, but nevertheless, he was dead. And now Ariel Sharon, who is, again, a very likable person, a delightful person to be with. I prayed with him personally, but here he's at the point of death. He was dividing God's land. And I would say, woe unto any prime minister of Israel who takes a similar course to appease the EU, the United Nations, or the United States of America. God.
Now, wait a second. So he's in trouble for quoting the Bible, and the Jews got all upset with that. He's saying, don't be divisive.
But doesn't America divide its land with Canada and Mexico?
Yes, but I guess that he's...
The states divide.
Now, you've got to understand something. In the Middle East, and I was having a discussion with a guy that's really religious the other day, and I've always said, why would I worship anybody from that stupid part of the world? And when you look at the Middle East now, it is the same group of individuals that were there, thousands of years ago. Make it 10,000. Add the Egyptians. Maybe the Egyptian hierarchy was smart, but the population was just like now. I mean, just crazed, okay? And this guy said, well, if you ever go to Palestine, if you ever go to Jerusalem, you will get the feeling that there is something there that's special. The Bible says don't separate this special place. So Jerusalem should not be the capital of Israel. That's what he's saying. And now the Republicans are making the Democrats say that for money, period, into conversation. But, they shouldn't, so they're doing it, Garrett, because it's spiritual. Well, you and I don't feel shit. We'd go there and buy a T-shirt and get right back on the plane. We'd want to go to Tel Aviv.
The Wailing Wall.
Yeah, no, we'd want to go to Tel Aviv.
I have a shtetl in Tel Aviv.
Oh, I have a small condo. I have a small condo in Haifa.
I have a hakava in Haifa.
What is this? Oh, wait a minute. I have a kibbutz in Cleveland. Okay, Garrett, let's hear more of Pat Robertson. Pat Robertson.
That Republican convention was one of the most hateful things. I'm a Republican, but I'll tell you what, Pat Robertson personally was one of the reasons why I voted against George Bush.
Okay, now, Pat, he's saying you would not let a pro-choice person chair your party, or you would try to stop it.
He just contradicted what I just said. I'm sitting here in this chair telling you something different, and he said I won't do. How does he know what I'll do? I think if he obviously didn't hear my speech at the convention, because it closed with a beautiful story of a lovely lady holding a little starving child in her arm, and it was a call for a better world and one nation under God. I can't see how anybody said that was hateful. I don't know where he's coming from, but there's something there that is not just on the surface, I think, because I didn't say the things he said I did.
We'll be right back with Pat Robertson and Lynn Martin and more of your phone calls on Larry King Live. Then Tina Sinatra. Don't go away.
Tina Sinatra.
And Tina Sinatra, don't go away. And then we'll be talking about...
Now, wait a second. Garrett, what was that?
Here it is.
That guy was on. Yeah, sure alive.
It's hard to hear, but he mouthed, that guy was a homo.
All right, let me hear that again.
That guy was a what?
Homo. On
After,
Tuesday.
Oh, it's after the interview. Here we go. Listen.
That guy was on. Yeah, sure alive.
Oh, my God. He said, what, sure as you're alive or something like that? That guy was a homo. Wow.
Lance Bass is
homo?
here.
Lance Bass, he did. Off mic.
Bass is here.
Lance Bass on the Jay Thomas Show. I don't know Lance Bass.
His boyfriend Michael's here, who's also going to be part of the show.
Turkey.
God, I wish I was there.
Turkey.
Well, you're not missing anything.
I am missing everything.
You're missing everything, Kevin.
Lance Bass. Lance, it's Jay Thomas. How are you?
Doing good. How are you, man?
Great, man. And Kevin Meaney, the great comic, is on the phone. He's normally in the studio live, but his
I love
ex-wife,
my Kevin Meaney.
Yes, there he is, right there.
How are you, Lance?
How are you doing, Kev?
Very good.
Lance Bass, Dirty Pop on 108. That's the radio show.
Yes,
right?
Indeed.
Okay.
Dirty, filthy Pop.
Now,
Kevin told me everything I need to know about being dirty.
do you just do you just talk, or will you play music also on Dirty
We're actually going to play some music. For the last year, I've been doing a weekly show here at XM called the Pop 10, and we would do the top 10 songs that we would pick, our favorite songs, but we realized it was too much music. We like talking more, so we're bringing that down and playing maybe about 4 or 5 songs on the daily show. Just depends on what we get to, but mainly it's just us talking about pop culture and celebrity guests, having a good time, glass of wine, no
is 108, is that OutQ?
It is OutQ 108, and it repeats on Cosmo 109 on the weekends.
Okay. So now, Lance, Kevin actually...
Yeah, you should be on OutQ.
Yes, I think so.
I'll go on there. It's fine with me. It's fine. I sound like I'm homophobic, but I'm really not.
We have a good time on OutQ.
I have a very derisive way of speaking and interrupting and sound like I don't care and stuff. But, what I don't like is I'm tired of the whole minority thing. I want everyone to be somehow level, so we don't have to give labels.
I totally agree with you. I love bringing communities together, and that's one thing I love about Dirty Pop. Majority of my fans are straight women. 99% of my fans are straight women, not the gay market.
You know why that is?
Well, in sync, maybe?
No, women don't like to fuck as much as we were told. And so they don't seem, they'll like a few guys that they can fuck,
right.
But they really seem to like guys that they know they can spend a tremendous amount of time with, and a penis will not enter them.
That is very true.
That seems to be, it would be like, straight guys really, being excited about Rachel Maddow.
Right.
I don't think Rachel Maddow has a big group of straight guys that are crazy about her.
Right.
But I know a huge group of women and younger and older and everything else are crazy about you and about a lot of guys who have no interest in it because they can feel safe with you. Yeah. Is that right, Cristina? Am I correct? Finally,
You're correct.
psychologically,
I can't speak for Clay Aiken or Playmate, but
right.
He's correct. It's just
okay.
less.
I like it, but I love that my show is being able to be on OutQ because I do bring that huge straight women market there and hopefully bridge some gaps.
One of the things that I like to talk about, because and I always think I'm on the fringe of this. You're in NSYNC, and first of all, were you guys protected? I mean, financially, or will you one day have a horrible story to tell about being screwed by a manager or a record label or something? Or did your parents? Who protected you when you?
Well, we got screwed earlier in our careers, so we got that over with. I signed with my label when I was 16. So reading contracts was not my forte.
What did your mom and dad do for a living?
My mom's a teacher, and my dad was a lab tech at a hospital.
So when this big contract, or probably much less than it should have been.
Did I send him my pH? Could he check my pH level?
We'll do that later, yeah. And by the way, one of your hairs. When the contract came in, and you're sitting around like a kitchen table, there are millions of people screaming for you, and you're just starting, or was it somebody who thought you had a future?
Well, it was the president of our record label was Lou Pearlman. You know that guy that's in jail now?
Yes, I do know
Lou Pearlman.
Because I was a DJ for years.
Right now, too.
Oh, great. I'm sure he has.
But I was on Power 106 in L.A. for years.
Oh, yeah.
And then KTU and everything in New York. And so we Power 106, we played all that stuff. But the thing is, I used to look and go, man, I wonder who's advising these guys.
Yeah.
So the
Lou
contract comes in, and it's potentially a multi-million-dollar contract. And how does somebody look at the contract and not tell you were getting screwed? Is what not your mom and dad, but
exactly.
a lawyer.
They didn't know what they were looking at, but with Lou Pearlman there, he was actually the 6th member of NSYNC. he legally was the sixth member because when we signed with him, he's like, guys, for the sixth member of the group, I'll be your manager, I'll be the president of the label. Everything is under one roof. And so, of course, he was our partner, so he was going to make the best deal possible, we thought. But, of course, he's the one who negotiated the contract with himself, basically.
So, Motown, when you look at a lot of the Motown stuff, right. And even before that, Chess Records, which was a guy that I knew, and he was, I won't say his name now, he was a stone mobster, and I used to work for these guys.
Back in the 40s, Jay?
No, not in the 40s, back in the 70s and 80s. But he would put his name with the writer on the records, right. So that he would always be paid.
Al Jolson did the same thing.
Right. He would always be paid, and all that stuff. By the way, Lance, Kevin lives in some sort of life so far away from us. Lance Bass, Dirty Pop on Sirius 108. So you get through it, and then the second incantation of the second contract was better for you guys.
Right. Well, we always knew that we could renegotiate. Every artist, when they first sign their deal, it's going to be a bad deal, and you can renegotiate. So when we went for the renegotiation, it didn't go so well. He didn't want to do anything, change any of the contract. Neither did our record label. So that's when we went through a huge lawsuit. We found a little loophole, got out of it, and thank God washed our hands clean of Lou Pearlman.
Now, you're from Mississippi.
I am. Can you hear the accent?
I can. I'm from New Orleans.
Oh, yeah. New Orleans.
Yeah. So where are you from in Mississippi?
I was born in Laurel, Mississippi. Do you know where that's at?
My dad used to drill oil wells there.
Oh,
believe it or not. So when I was a little boy, we hung around Laurel.
That's
right. It was literally, like a little gas station with a stoplight.
Drilled some oil in Laurel also.
Kevin.
So you were in Laurel, Mississippi. Now, did they know? Did they know you were a little gay Lance in Laurel, or did you have
gosh,
to
no. Oh, I'd have to, there's no way I could ever tell anyone I was gay in Mississippi.
God, no.
No.
Hang you up.
Yeah, and I lived in Ellisville, which was right next to Laurel, because Ellisville didn't have a hospital you could be born at. So I was born in Laurel, but 10 minutes over was Ellisville, population 2,000. So there was definitely no coming out in a town of 2,000.
Did you go to high school there?
I went to high school in Clinton, which is, near Jackson.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go to high school.
Mm-hmm. Is it anywhere near Greenville?
Not close, no.
I don't know.
So you're not in the Delta?
No.
Was there a time you thought you got a signal from a guy, and you didn't know whether to act upon it or not? Because if you act upon the wrong redneck, you know what happens. A lot of these guys, you've seen all the movies, right?
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever make a mistake, or did you actually find a kindred spirit before you left Mississippi?
No, never had a gay experience in Mississippi to this day. To this day.
So when you had your
surprised.
when you had your first experience in sexually with a man, Jesus Christ, it must have come like a goddamn geyser.
It was like, being a 14-year-old,
That's right.
I was 21 when I had my first experience with a guy.
What state was it in?
It was actually, let's see. Oh, it was in Illinois, Chicago.
You're damn right.
Yeah.
You're damn right. There's actually been you know what, Kevin, there have been a couple of books written about if you're going to get it, you're going to get it in Chicago.
And look how stereotypical this is. My first time was with someone in the cast of Mamma Mia.
It's a 2-hour live show.
Doing, right?
It's a 2-hour live show, and you can call Lance Bass on one. What time of day are you going to be on?
East Coast, we're going to be 6 to 8 o'clock. Drive time. Oh, yeah.
Now, you were doing all kinds of stuff, and you guys had sold millions of records and everything else. When did it hit you, gee, I don't think we're going to have another hit for a while, and you're a bunch of guys together. Was there a breakup that we didn't read about that was,
Yeah, it was
angry?
Weird. Yeah, no, not at all. We're all still...
I didn't read about an angry breakup.
No,
I just knew you guys were
It was
off
a very slow fade out. We were working on the last album, and we never did complete it because everyone just got really busy. We went on a year hiatus, and then it's continued till today. We never knew...
That album is still waiting to come out. Aren't you still under contract for that album?
We're under contract for 2 more albums. But yeah,
well, I would sing them real fast.
Yeah, but
can you just do that if they give you a 3-record deal? You read about people that didn't complete the other 2, but couldn't you? Not that you're going to try and be bad, but just write the songs you all like so that you can complete the contract and get the money that you're owed? Well, I mean, try your best and give them the best you can.
You could, but they'd have to approve it. So
they would before they give you the money?
Well, they give you the money before you record the album. You got to pay for it.
That's what I mean.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they would.
You should do all Broadway show tunes.
Oh, that would totally work, Meanie.
But don't you have to deliver that? If you don't deliver, you have to give the money back, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's definitely recoupable. You don't really have to give it back if it doesn't release, but yeah, it's
right. But you have to deliver the other two albums. Will you do that?
Who knows?
If you give me some of it, I'll do a tambourine in the back. I'll do anything. I'll call it. You know what? I'll drive and pick the entire group up and drop them off every day just to get those.
That would be
You
amazing.
know,
if we can get Justin in the studio, and I mean, he's a movie star now. He's doing back-to-back blockbuster movies. So I don't know if he's slowing down anytime soon. So we might need your help.
Now, did Joey Fatone ever realize that his name spells Fat One?
Oh, did he ever? He loved that. Well, one, it means a couple of things. One, he's definitely gained some weight. Thank you, Joey. But
I mean, it does mean Fat One.
Yeah,
you know?
but he loved it because remember in the 90s when Fat P-H-A-T? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he loved it, so he changed it, to Fat One.
Aren't his
that was his
fans
nickname.
called the Fat Ones or something like that?
Oh, I've never heard that one, but he does have those out there that love to.
I just got this from someone. Jay, do you think Justin Timberlake will drop by and ignore Lance like he has for the past 10 years? Would you think, does he ignore you, or are you still friends? Are you still friends?
No, I was just at his engagement party. No, we're all friends. We're very supportive of each other's career. It's just people grow apart. We were teenagers, and his career's incredible right now, and to do a boy band album again, I don't know. Maybe his fans wouldn't like that.
What about with other boy bands? I'm sorry.
This is from Rodney of Chicago. Did they ever let you guys back in Chicago after filming On the Line? I don't know what that is. What is that?
It was an amazing teen movie. Huge blockbuster. It
was?
No. No, it was a film that I did in 2001 with Emmanuel Shrieky, and Joey Fatone was my co-star. It was a Miramax film that we did on our 2-month hiatus in 2001. And we shot it in Toronto, but we shot a week in Chicago. And it was so much fun. It was freezing. But yes, the movie, I would not say got great critical acclaim. But I had the best time doing it. Oh, yeah.
Now, also, I'm sitting here. Lance Bass will be on 108, which is called Dirty Pop. And then, of course, Kevin Meaney is here, too. What is the cosmonaut school thing? I know you hosted a TV show, but to me that would be, they pay you, you host it, you go home. Mm-hmm. They made you go to cosmonaut, which is actually it's an astronaut who does makeup.
Very good.
Is that? Thank you. But it's a Russian thing.
It's a Russian astronaut. Yes.
No, it's actually a Russian astronaut who always puts cranberry in their vodka. Are you enjoying these jokes, Kevin, at all? Are you?
Yeah, I'm actually laughing inside because I didn't.
Yeah, thanks a lot. All right. So go ahead now. What's with the cosmonaut school?
Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be an astronaut before I even got into music. And I
did too. I wanted to be an astronaut.
I mean, every little kid did. So, and I used to go to the shuttle launches and all that stuff with my grandfather.
I want to put that rocket right on my...
Hey, now. PG show.
No, it isn't.
No, it's not.
Oh, darn.
No.
Great.
No. This show is not fucking PG.
Very
okay?
Yeah, but so...
by the way, I've given up any other possibility of working anywhere because I've thrown myself onto those spikes that the Vietnamese shit on so they would, the bacteria would spread to them.
Oh my God.
Just so I could say fuck on the radio.
Nice.
So go ahead, answer that question.
Yeah, so they asked me to go to space. They wanted to send the youngest person in space. And so they knew I was very interested in math and science, and I had that year hiatus. And so they shipped me off to Russia, and I began cosmonaut training. And it took me 7 months, and I finished the training and became a cosmonaut.
What does that mean?
They didn't know you were gay, also, did they?
No, they did not. No.
Now wait a second.
Any other cosmonauts?
No, definitely not.
Is it like a don't ask, don't tell?
So let's say that you and I go to, Cape Cape Canaveral. That used to be Cape Kennedy, but I don't know I don't know when they changed that. But so you and I go, and there's the space shuttle. The ship is there. The thing is there. And if I could get us into it, almost like Abbott and Costello, could you start the thing up and could you shoot us into outer space?
Well, without the hundreds of people behind us, no, it would not take off the ground, but I could definitely tell you how to fly it.
Well, listen, Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin, the Three Stooges, Abbott and Costello. I don't know that any modern comic duos, Garrett, have done this, but when we were kids, every one of them somehow got on a spaceship. One of them hit a lever, and the thing took off.
Oh, yeah, like Space Camp the movie. Remember that movie? Loved it.
Is that how that happened, too, Space Camp?
The kids, go on the show, accidentally push a button.
Hit the lever and the whole thing. So once the thing dislodges from the initial jet, whatever it is, you can control the rocket, in orbit? What is it that they teach you?
Well, my mission, I was the right seat, so my commander would be all the way to the left, my engineer's in the middle, and I controlled like oxygen and things like that. Because you don't go on a shuttle. The cosmonauts, we go on a Soyuz, which is our Apollo days. So 3 people can fit in this little tiny.
A Soyuz, and they land on hard ground. Also, that's why I never believed they went anywhere because why do we land in the ocean and they would land on in a desert somewhere?
Yeah, anywhere. If you're 1 little millimeter off of your projection, then you're going to land in the ocean or on the top of a mountain.
But we land in the ocean. We've never maybe in modern times there's been a soft landing. We always pick the ocean. Why do they pick hard land?
Just because of
they're communists.
Well, the capsule can land on land now because the jets that
they landed on land many years ago. They Yuri Gagarin landed.
That's right.
Yeah, landed on land. Well, he stayed at our house a couple of summers. So because my father was a fighter pilot.
Oh, yeah?
And a test pilot when I was a kid. So we had all these kind of jet guys going.
And I love Yuri Gagarin's one of my heroes, and I love all the conspiracy theories behind
you wouldn't have liked him drinking, I can tell you that, Lance.
I actually lived on the Army base with his widow.
The most epic show on the most epic day on satellite radio. Today is Tuesday on the Jay Thomas Show.
Bring your daughter to work day. There we go. There you go. There's little Kate Meany, Kevin Meany's lovely daughter. Kate, are you 13 yet?
Yes.
13. It was maybe, Cristina, was it a year ago that we went to Hooters? Was it about a year ago?
Just about, yep. No. We went in March.
We went in March. You see what great memories these children have. You know what, Garrett? It's because of that internet that they're so darn smart, these kids. Now, Kate, when you went to Hooters, there were some people there that were a little shocked. Why would you be shocked to go to Hooters? Did you see anything there that disturbed you?
Not really.
No. And what did you have to eat that night?
Grilled cheese.
Had a grilled cheese. And how was it? Was it as delicious as the burgers we had?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Do you remember,
now, Kate,
Jay, taking some of your grilled cheese off your plate and eating it himself?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, Kate, one thing I always ask my kids when they got home from school, this is because I was Father of the Year twice, what did you learn in school today, Kate, that you didn't know before you got there?
Let me see.
Something you learned today that you didn't know yesterday.
Well, the class basically revolved around the homework we did, so I basically knew everything.
And what class was it? What was it? Math? Was it science? What was it?
Well, I didn't have math today.
I know. What class was it that you went to today?
I went to history, science, and English, and those were the only classes I had today. Then
what years was the Civil War for the United States between the North and the South?
Good question.
I learned that in 4th grade, so I don't remember.
You learned it in the 4th grade now. You're in 5th grade, and you've already forgotten it.
Well, no, I'm in 8th grade.
Oh, you're in 8th grade, and you don't think that you need to know when the Civil War happened?
Where's Ira?
All right. Where's Ira? Ira, the weatherman, is here. She's only here for you. Ira, this is Kevin Meaney's little...
Good afternoon, Kate.
Yes, Ira,
Good afternoon,
that's Kate.
Kate. How are you, Kate?
I'm done. They haven't put Ira on yet.
Ira?
Oh, at least I got a fan out there.
Yeah, that's Kate. No, that's not a fan. That's Kate Meaney. That's Kevin Meaney's daughter. Say hello to her.
Yes. Good afternoon.
So, Kate, what do you want to ask Ira the weatherman?
What's the temperature out today?
Temperature out there today is around 78 degrees under beautiful blue skies.
I don't think it's 8 degrees out.
No, 78.
When you go home tonight,
I don't think it's 78. I thought you said 8.
All right, hold on a minute. And Ira, what about the weather tonight for Kate Meaney? Go ahead, Ira.
tonight 65 degrees.
What is the weather in North Dakota?
What's the weather in North Dakota?
It's around 50 degrees in North Dakota.
All right, I'm done.
All right. Okay, Kate, thank you very much. All right, you're done. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Boy, I tell you what.
Dad.
Hey, Garrett. You betcha. I'm hearing some issues. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? Not a lot good to be said about a father of that ilk.
You think she gets her way a lot of times?
Well, what's that again, Ira? What'd you say?
She's smart.
How do you know she? How do you know that she's smart?
Hey, Ira, What year did the Civil War happen?
Civil War. It happened 18 something.
That's right.
Yeah, you're close.
1860 to 1865, right, Ira?
1865.
All right. Thank you very much.
He was in fourth grade 71 years ago.
When was Lincoln killed,
That's
Ira?
right. Lincoln.
Abraham
Lincoln. Over years and years.
He was killed in 1865.
1865.
Right.
Wasn't it 1863?
No, the Civil War was over. He was killed. He killed right after Appomattox, before he left office. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. So he was elected in 1860, and then he was reelected in 1864, and he ended the Civil War. And so I don't know the exact month, but it was right there. I don't think he'd served. And then
April 14th.
1865, right?
Correct, yeah.
Right. And then Andrew Johnson took over, who was a Southerner and who really wasn't interested in freeing slaves or anything else. And he was there for political reasons. He, of course, didn't get along with Lincoln. And then Andrew Johnson was one of the most, corrupt and unfortunate individuals who ran Reconstruction. And then they sent General Sheridan down to New Orleans, and General Sheridan was running Louisiana as the governor. And Kevin, the women in Louisiana were spitting on the Union soldiers that were there for the occupation, or whatever you want to call it, after the war. And General Sheridan basically did a decree that said that any woman that cursed a Union soldier or a Union official or spat upon them would be considered a prostitute. And so he pretty much called all the women of New Orleans and Louisiana prostitutes. And you can imagine that the spitting and the yelling got even worse. So at one point, everyone in Louisiana every woman was a whore, almost.
They just cleared Mary Lincoln's name for, they said that she was crazy and insane, and they've just proven that she was not. Indeed, she was not crazy or insane.
Wow.
That just came out recently.
Well, they also say things about Lincoln that is pretty ridiculous.
Well,
they say that he wasn't gay.
Yes, he was gay.
No, and I'm not joking.
I'm not joking either.
No, but I'm not joking about this either. Gay people want to make it. No, they didn't have heat like you would imagine heat. You didn't go to bed at night and there was enough heat for the room. and you didn't cuddle, and sometimes it'd be one bed in the place, and a small bed. Lincoln and another man, while he was married to his wife, not in the White House, but when they were at their home, which was small in Illinois, and I saw his mother's home in Kentucky, and it's, not even as big as the studio you guys are standing in. You would get in bed with another human being for warmth. And so he and another man, who might have even been a law partner, sometimes slept in the same bed. It was okay with me if he was gay, but he wasn't. It was he didn't hug the guy or touch his genitalia or anything like that, Kevin. What would make you think he was gay?
Well, just what it says here on Wikipedia,
Oh, please.
And that stovepipe hat.
It says,
You mean Dickopedia? That's the other one.
Wikipedia. That's another one.
What does it say on Wikipedia?
I said, it says, some Lincoln biographers, including David Herbert Donald, have strongly contested three claims. As an astute politician, Lincoln was a man with many friends, Donald says. In countering claims of homosexuality, Donald cites Lincoln's letters, in which he frequently refers to acquaintances, even political enemies, as my personal friend. Okay.
What does that mean? That says nothing. They wouldn't have even said, the word gay or be with another man. They wouldn't have even.
Sandberg made an allusion to the early relationship of Lincoln and his friend Joshua Speed as having a streak of lavender and spots soft as May violets. Streak of lavender was slang in the period for an effeminate man, and later connoted homosexuality. Sandberg did not elaborate on this comment.
Hold on a second. Sandberg was a homosexual, I think.
He was not. He was not a homosexual.
There's a lot of homosexuals that want everybody to be a homosexual. I don't get it.
Lincoln wrote a poem that described a marriage-like relation between two men, which included the lines, "For Reuben and Charles have married two girls, but Billy was married a boy. The girls he had tried on every side, but none he could get to agree. All was in vain. He went home again, and since that, he's married to Natty."
He's a bad poet.
Excuse me one second. You were saying that Abraham Lincoln wrote that poem.
Yes.
Where did you get that from?
Wikipedia.
So the President of the United States, while he's sitting in office, decides to write a poem about something that probably wasn't even discussed, about gayness. I doubt it, seriously. I doubt it. I mean, even now, people aren't so free with that. I mean, why would he do that? It could only hurt his reputation.
No, his reputation is solid. He freed the slaves. He won the war. He saved the Union.
Okay. And
he happened to like to sleep with men.
Do you know, Garrett, that when homosexuals it became, that you could speak of and everything else, and then all of this thing like, more people are gay than you think, the phrase misery likes company was also invented at the very same time. I didn't know that. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Oh. Yeah, I just saw that on Dickopedia.
I want to know how a Southerner got elected president the first election after the Civil War.
Well, there's tons of... Well, Andrew Johnson wasn't elected president. He was the vice president.
Yeah, he took over after Lincoln was assassinated.
Well, he was also impeached, Andrew Johnson. And he was a Southerner. And, look, the Founding Fathers, not to bore you, knew that slavery was a huge problem. And Jefferson and Washington and all of them said there will be a war fought over this. And in fact, do you know that I believe Washington put into, I don't know if it's the Constitution or not, but the discussion of slavery could not be made until, I think, 1820. There was literally a ban on trying to deal with it. So they knew, because remember the French had outlawed slavery and stuff long before the United States did. Mm-hmm. So he was going to let them do it in the 1820s rather than deal with it in 1779. So he was going to which really wasn't a long time. He was going to make, go for 30 years. No telling how many poor people got the shit beaten out of them and murdered and, and all that kind of nonsense.
It wasn't that long of a time if, when you look back now, but, back then, those
it was bad.
People, it was bad, horrible.
Yeah. They knew they had to deal with it, and they knew there would be a war, over it. And so then when they would elect people, they put this guy Johnson in so that some Southerners would vote for Lincoln. They still had to do the same thing that we do now, except
just like
only
what Kennedy did. Kennedy did the same thing. He put in Lyndon Johnson, so he
that's right.
The Southern vote.
They hated each other. I mean, there are many people that think that Johnson knew about the assassination. I mean, and after the thing is over, I don't believe it either. But after the thing is over, there is also a weird phone. There's a weird phone call that Johnson made to Robert F. Kennedy, and they've always considered this phone call to be kind of rude or insensitive. And even when I saw the documentary, I didn't quite understand what it was.
Johnson called Robert Kennedy after the assassination and told him about it. Was that the conversation you're talking about?
Yeah, and there's some controversy about that conversation. I don't know what it is.
Jay, did you ever work with Lady Bird Johnson?
No, they owned a bunch of radio stations, but I never.
She owned the radio stations.
Yeah, well, I don't know if she owned them outright or
she owned them outright. Yeah.
But here is one of the many theories that I'm sure people know this. J. Edgar Hoover absolutely,
excuse me,
hated.
That's gay Edgar Hoover.
You're right. He hated Robert Kennedy. Okay.
Yes.
Johnson, of course, was really in big with the unions. Obviously, he had to be. The Democrats had to be. And RFK was putting tremendous pressure on Jimmy Hoffa and on the unions and on the mob. And the mob and the union said, fuck you. We got your brother to be president. People don't realize how tight that election was. In fact, Jack Kennedy once joked, I want to thank my dad for, buying all those votes so I could be president. Now, of course, that was a joke. So there are many people that believe that J. Edgar let it happen and the mob and the unions, carried it all out so that Robert Kennedy would be eliminated as Attorney General, which, of course, LBJ did as soon as he could. I mean, that sounds crazy, but that
stayed on as Attorney General for a while, didn't he?
Not for a while, but LBJ got rid of him as soon as he could. So, and I remember when John Connally became the governor of Texas. My dad had worked in this office where my dad was a petroleum engineer and Connally was a lawyer, and they'd have to go over the leases together. And I remember my dad, sending him a note, and he knew all those guys and all. That oil world is the Wall Street of today. What you don't realize is there are these oil men. One of them's last name was Bass. There was Perry Bass. There was a guy named Sid Richardson. These guys were the richest guys in the world. And at some point later on, after that, their relatives cornered the market in diamonds. And so Texas was the Wall Street, of today. And so when LBJ came out of there, oh my God, they say that hundreds of thousands of dead people voted for LBJ over the years.
Mm-hmm.
He was a rough one too, pretty wild. And also, I mean this, if you really look at LBJ and really look, this guy looks like a guy that if you had to be eliminated, it would have been okay with him. He was like those guys in the movies, those kind of, well, he's getting in our way, Bill.
He would intimidate you. He would get so close to your face, LBJ.
Right.
That, when he would somebody would come into his office, he would get right up to somebody's face and just totally intimidate them. But he was a great president, LBJ.
Garrett, would you get the LBJ calling his tailor and making sure there's enough room in his pants for his balls to hang properly?
Did he have a big ball sack?
He had a huge testicles, and he had to have his pants specially made. Now, many of you are thinking, oh, is this going to be some, bit? No. Apparently, these tape recordings from the Oval Office in the White House have always been there. And some were secret, but I guess these machines have always been around because this is certainly from the 60s. Garrett, do we have it?
Mr. Hager?
Yes, this is Joe Hager.
Joe, is your father the one that makes clothes?
Yes, sir. We're all together.
You all made me some real lightweight slacks that he just made up on his own, sent to me 3 or 4 months ago. It's a kind of a light brown and a light green, rather soft green and soft brown.
Yes, sir.
And they're real lightweight. Now, I need about 6 pairs for summer wear.
Yes, sir.
I want a couple, maybe 3 of the light brown, kind of a almost powder color, like powder on a lady's face. Then there was some green, and then maybe some other light pair. If you had a blue in that or black, I'd have 1 blue and 1 black. I need about 6 pairs to wear around in the evening when I come in from work. And I need they're about a ½ inch too tight in the waist.
Do you recall the exact size? I just wanted to be sure we get them right for you.
No, I don't know. You all just guessed at them. I think so, but wouldn't you have the measurements there?
We'll find them for you.
I can send you a pair. I want them a ½ inch larger in the waist than they were before, except I want 2 or 3 inches of stuff left back in there so I can take them up. I vary 10 to 15 pounds a month. So leave me at least 2.5, 3 inches in the back where I can let them out or take them up, and make these a ½ inch bigger in the waist. Make the pockets at least 1 inch longer. My money and my knife and everything fall out. Wait just a minute.
My knife?
Yeah. This is LBJ to his tailor. Yeah. This is a real conversation. Yeah.
Now, the pockets, when you sit down in a chair, the knife and your money comes out, so I need it at least another inch in the pockets. Yeah. Now, another thing, the crotch down where your nuts hang is always a little too tight. So when you make them up, give me 1 inch that I can let out there, because they cut me. They're just like riding a wire fence. These are the best that I've had anywhere in the United States. But when I gain a little weight, they cut me under there. So leave me, you never do have much margin there. Let's see if you can't leave me about 1 inch from where the zipper ends, round under my, back to my bunghole. So I can let it out there if I need to. Now, be sure you got the best zippers in them. These are good that I have. And if you get those to me, I would sure be grateful.
Now, all kidding aside, can you imagine him sitting down to coffee with Jackie Onassis? The Kennedys hated this fucking guy. And he spoke like this all the time. He was also, cursed all the time and everything else. But that's a true taped phone conversation from the Oval Office. So, when he says bunghole, that's about it for me. The poor Taylor guy, it's almost like he's listening, but he thinks it's a joke, right?
Yeah, he's right. He's got to write all this stuff down, 1 inch on each pocket. I need a good zipper. I need 1 inch down there by my nuts.
All that kind of stuff. So
my bunghole.
Let's go to Leah of California, 888-4-102-102. Kevin Meany is here. I'm the main host, Jay Thomas. Yes, Leah, go ahead. Is she still there? Or long
Hello, this is Leah.
Oh, hey, Leah, how's it going?
Good. I'd like to say Kevin is the best.
Okay.
All right. You know what?
I like him
Get rid of
the main host.
Get rid of Leah, would you please? Just get rid of.
Don't Leah.
Don't do that. Don't start calling. Let's go to Mike of Brooklyn, New York. Yes, Mike, go ahead.
Oh, how you doing, Jay?
No, shut up. Shut up, idiot. You know what? This is making me mad now. Hold on. Is there a Mike of Brooklyn there?
Yeah, Jay?
Yes.
Ahoy?
Okay, go ahead. Ahoy. I'm sure Kevin wouldn't have said that.
Oh.
Yes, Mike, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say that I heard Kevin Meany's 9/11 story.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much the greatest thing ever, and I wish you would repeat that every year on 9/11.
That is good.
In New York.
Yeah, that's right.
Towers fall, and it was like, you know, one of the most traumatic periods ever. But that was the first time anything about 9/11 actually made me smile.
I truly was cringing. No, I was. Because, you know, you can't stop anybody, Mike, from telling their 9/11 story. It's just not cool. So when Kevin says, well, I have a story, I was just going, oh, my God, it's going to be one of these, you know, cringeworthy, horrifying death stories.
Yeah,
but when he said that the guy showed up filled with the white shit, I made it. I made it.
Yeah. Literally, that was the only time I've ever been able to laugh about 9/11.
If it was a movie or a TV show, Kevin, he would come in and the first thing he would say was, I made it. God, I need a drink.
Yeah,
I need a drink. All right.
Himself a drink.
Thank you, Mike of Brooklyn. Thank you. Let's go to Anthony in New Jersey. Yes, Anthony, go ahead.
Jay, not since Hal Holbrook played Mark Twain on Broadway have I witnessed a one-man show and performance as elegant and graceful as your take on alcoholics. When you told me about your ex-wives drinking 4 bottles, but going, ooh, he left me, give me a smoke, I want to smoke, and started scratching her arms, I can't stop laughing at that.
Okay, so my speech about my alcoholic wives. Thank you, Anthony of New Jersey. By the way, Anthony, aren't you isn't he the poopy guy? Isn't he Mr. Poopy?
Yes, he sounds like the poopy guy.
He's got to be Mr. Poop. Whoever it is, you've got to stop sending me the pictures of shit in the toilet and all. You've got to. No, I'm not joking. And you know, they usually say don't warn them, Kevin. But I get some stuff that is so awful, and I don't want to open. Well, no. You know, you've all been pretty good. I really don't want the pictures anymore. It's disturbing to me. And he's gone from in the toilet. He's actually got some shots of turds leaving the anus, and I don't know where you get them from or whatever, but stop it. The other one is
he's on the cleanse.
I
love that we have men and women listening that do jobs that I know that I could never do, that Garrett would probably never do, Cristina and Kevin wouldn't. You work these really hard jobs. It's the pictures of your trucks. I wish I could pretend I cared about them, but I don't. They're interesting looking. They have flames on them, and I know they cost, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the picture, I have so many of them that I'm unable. I have no more room left, Garrett, on my screen. I use them as my screensaver. Okay. I'm going to have to get rid of some of the pictures of the trucks. But, you know, and the other one is I like cats. I like cats, but I don't like cat pictures. So I don't need a picture.
What about funny ones?
I don't like that. Okay. I'll tell you why.
Can I send you a picture of my pussy?
No, I don't like.
What about mine?
Cat shit.
I don't like. No, don't send pictures of cat shit. Okay. I don't like pictures of a cat, and I'll tell you why. Or a dog. I don't know the personality of the animal, and so I could look at the picture, even though it has a.
They can send you videos then.
I don't want that. The personality of the animal.
Videos of your cats. Then he can learn about the cat, the personality, and that would be a fun thing for Jay to do on his spare time.
Right. You know, Garrett, I know it's not going to play, but the thing that I played at the veterinary convention.
Oh, Kevin Meaney's video?
Oh, that prick.
People's dogs?
You're an asshole. You were supposed to send me that, and you were so afraid I was going to run it in San Diego, and you weren't going to make 20. You did not forget. I reminded you 3 times. Thank God I already had other stuff prepared.
Well, you know, thank God you were prepared.
I might have given you a couple of $100. You didn't know what I was going to do, did you? So now you get nothing. Nothing. And I made a lot of money doing that one, too. I might have sent you a little of it. Yeah, I did. And I kept going, I can't believe. Garrett, right or wrong, he didn't send the dog thing, the dog bit he does. I was going to what, steal his act for free?
No,
right, Garrett, tell me the truth. Yes.
I forgot. Okay? I forgot.
You're full of shit.
I did. I forgot.
If you needed the Lone Ranger story, I would send it to you.
Oh, by the way, could you send me the Lone Ranger story? I've got to use it tonight. I'm doing a show down at the People's Improv Theater.
Perfect. If you say, this is my friend Jay Thomas, how can it hurt me? It can't hurt me.
No,
if you want to use it.
It would not have hurt me either.
I was going to say my good friend, Kevin Meaney, and you were going to be shown to all these vets. Yeah. I was kind of thinking maybe it would help you the next time you're airlifted off a cruise.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I wasn't airlifted off a cruise, okay?
Yes, you were.
I swam to shore.
We have Justin Timberlake on line 5. Yes, Justin. Oh. Go ahead, Justin Timberlake.
I just want to say that I'll sing for Lance. I haven't forgotten you, Lance. I'm here for whenever you need moral support, baby. And I just want to sing a song for you.
All right.
We are the world. We are the children. Woo! Yeah, baby.
All right.
Love you there, Lance.
When you get home tonight, when you park the truck, I want you to do this for your family and tell them, and call me back and tell me what they thought of it, okay? All right, thank you. Let's go to the Strawberry Cowboy from North Carolina. You know, these names kind of went out the window with CB's, Strawberry Cowboy.
What about the Strawberry Shortcake? That's still popular.
No, it isn't.
Yeah,
Strawberry
well, that's been my handle for many years, but I just wanted to thank you, Jay, for all the good commentary today and the fantasies I've been having about me and Lance Bass and Kevin there laying up there on a moon rock with our missiles all hanging out. Love it.
Yeah, that's an image that'll be burned into my unk for the rest of my life. Thank you, Strawberry Cowboy. Kevin Meaney is here. We'll be right back. In a few minutes, Debbie Bowen will be here from Callinete Spa and Resort, which is a nudism clothing optional thing, and she's an expert. And I have these folks on every now and again because they constantly promote the fact that nudism has nothing to do with emotions, or maybe emotions. It has nothing to do with these people being sexual. And this will be something that I say for the rest of my life. I've never known a person that likes taking their clothes off, especially in public, that isn't interested in sexuality of some sort and believes that, and that's fine. But when you talk to nudists, they always maintain that it has nothing to do with sex. So this is what I think. It's almost like, how do the Republicans have the same word that all the announcers and all the candidates say within 24 hours of a phrase being coined? How does it work? Well, there is that little secret society that they get together and there's this single message and they all do it, right? The nudists are the same way. They have forever been saying that it has nothing to do with sexuality, and I don't really know any nudists, but I know good and well that when the lights go off or when night comes down or whatever,
I'm nude right now. I just want to let you know that.
But am I wrong about this, Kevin? They never say it's for sex, ever. They want the wind against their tits, or they want, I don't know what, a breeze up their ass, or whatever the deal is.
I like a nice breeze up my ass.
But do you disagree with me? I believe that it's driven by sexuality.
Benjamin Franklin used to take a air bath every day.
Right.
And an air bath is where you would just be naked for like an hour and just like let the air wash over your body.
I have an outdoor shower in New Orleans.
I love outdoor showers.
The reason why we had, when we were building the house, it had been, old and beat up anyway. Then Katrina hit and it was all messed up. So the construction guys built this thing. They're all living in the house, but all we had was a shower outside. And so I began to use that outdoor shower. I kept it there as a tribute to the guys that built the house. I took one during this last hurricane. And you take that shower, you get all soaped down. Of course, no one can see you. And then I took I laid on a lounge chair in the courtyard there. It really is something you ought to do. It really is.
And it was
No, it was refreshing. It wasn't sexual. But you know what? I agree with the air shower. I do, or the air, whatever you want to call it, air bath, right? Jeff of Pennsylvania, have you ever been friends with a nudist? Have you ever known a nudist, a person that went to one of those places? A nudist?
Never knew a nudist. No, sir.
Never know. Now, am I wrong about that? But people that need to be nude or need to go on these nude vacations, and do you ever see them? They go, well, it's not sexual. You know what I'm talking about, don't you, Jeff?
Well, it kind of eliminates the extra charge for luggage.
Yes, it does. And there's no dry cleaning bills either.
No.
But Jeff, do you believe for 1 minute it's just about the air hitting their bodies?
No, it's all about guys wanting to take a peek.
Thank you. Now, Jeff,
Absolutely.
What did you call about? What did you call
want
about?
to check everybody out, yeah.
Yeah, what did you want to call about?
I was just wondering if you still had Matthew Lillard's phone number and if you've used it at all since the guy whose biggest credit was Pool Boys before now is now in the new Clint Eastwood movie.
Well, Matthew Lillard did Pool Boys, and then he did The Descendants. So his star went up. He played the guy that was sleeping with George Clooney's soon-to-be dead wife. And that was a huge break for him, yes. Now he's in the Clint Eastwood movie with Amy Adams looks so bad. I mean, it's like something that one of his kids must have written, or I don't know what.
You know whose co-star is in that movie?
Who?
The Chair.
Jay, I've got another question if you got a second.
Yes, go ahead, Jeff.
I'm actually afraid that this might make you upset, but I wondered if you've ever talked about the case that you had pending against the old owners of the radio station, how that came about.
You mean years ago, the lawsuit I had?
Correct.
No, that was against Emmis, which the people that own Power 106 in LA, they're from Indianapolis. And Emmis, of course, means truth in Hebrew. And the first day I got the job, I knew as soon as they named a company Truth, I was going to get fucked. So
I think we might be talking about something different. I was talking about the people who owned the station in Jacksonville, bilked you out of some money, allegedly.
Yeah, those people were like my parents. And when I made a huge contract that they had helped me, they knew everything about me. I actually didn't loan them the money. The guy said he wanted to help my kids. He was like my father. And I'll tell you the number. It was $300,000. It was their college fund. And I was making about, 5 or 6%. He said, I need some cash and he did it personally, 8%. And so I said, okay, sure, if that's what you want to do. He says, and I feel like I'm going to be giving something back to these kids that I feel are like my grandkids. Well, I didn't know this, but he and his wife, and she was like my mother, were going broke, and they had been really wealthy. And all of a sudden, he dies. I spoke at his funeral with his daughters. That was it. I mean, this guy was like my dad. And then later on, I find out that they're bankrupt or some nonsense and hadn't signed the paperwork they should have. And yes, in my estimation, and I took them all the way to the Supreme Court of North Carolina, they fucked me out of my money. You are correct about that. And it was the worst loss. I don't care how much money. I've lost $1 million in real estate. But these people went out of they didn't tell me they were going broke, and I wouldn't have believed it. And I would have loaned them some amount of money or given it to them. But that they took it, in my estimation, under false pretenses, it was probably the worst things ever happened to me, ever. Now, I will tell you, I sued and sued and sued just to see the paperwork, Jeff, and he was dead. She just didn't want to show me all she had to do was show me the paperwork that didn't have any money. Finally, one day they showed me the paperwork and they were broke. That was it. It cost me another $50,000 to sue the shit out of them. And it was nuts. It was really weird. It was like I just can't imagine. It would be like me fucking you over, Cristina, financially. You can't imagine it.
No, I can't.
It was unbelievable to me. And I never spoke to the woman again. And they were my closest friends, confidants. He paid for my last year of college. I mean, it was just unbelievable that they did this. And so, and you know what? Fuck them all. Fuck them. He's dead. Fuck him. She's still alive. Fuck her. They've got a daughter that lives in Charlotte. Fuck her. That's how I feel about them. Now, here's the other good news. I'll be able to write that loss off at some point in the future if the economy ever comes back. But, yeah, that was my kid's college right there. See you later. And we figured it out, but and it was embarrassing and everything else. And I'd love them to fucking go, oh, that's you're saying bad shit about me on the radio. Go ahead and sue me, you son of a bitches, you fucks. Just go ahead.
What are their names so we can call them?
I cannot say their names on the air.
I appreciate you answering that. I think you alluded.
Well, you did it just to cause me upset. Get rid of this guy. He's a prick. He probably works for him.
Oh.
Now, here's the weird thing, Kevin. All the years I worked for the guy, people would say to me, one day he's going to fuck you. Can you believe that? I was with him for 30 years. Oh, since I'm a kid, I was with him. Oh, it was horrible. It was just awful. And I said to the woman, I said, okay, look. You still have some money because I know you hid money. So just put aside an amount of money so that when you die, my kids get paid back out of your estate. I don't care what it is. Give me 50 cents on the dollar. I tried to make every deal I could make. And they said, well, you loaned the money and you lost the money, so that's too bad. I said, no, I didn't loan any money to anybody. I didn't do any of that. It was it was horrible, awful. And listen, they're the top of the fucking list. The top of the list. Fuck them. Fuck them.
Well, I don't know why that guy called. I had to remind you of that.
That's good. You know what? It's good to be reminded of revenge.
Yeah, revenge is a dish served best cold.
Now, wait a minute, Garrett. Yeah. That happened right after I'd asked God to save my wife. Oof. You think I'm kidding you?
Nope.
Remember I told you that story? Yeah. That fucking... I know where I was standing when I got the phone call that I was getting fucked out of... Because I said, no, the company could go bankrupt, but this woman who's really rich, she signed a personal, a thing. She's like my mother. We'll figure it out. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out. Well, there wasn't any figuring out. The next call I got was from her attorney. It was fucking crazy. Right after I'd asked God to save my wife. Today, a woman that I know had a double mastectomy, and she's going into chemo and everything else, and my wife has been talking to her and stuff. And so today she calls me and she says, what advice do you have for my husband? That's what she said to me. Mm-hmm. So I gave her the normal advice. And then I said,
did you put the phone up to the breast?
The tumor? No, they've been cut out already. So I said to her, this isn't going to mean anything to you, but have your husband call me if he wishes. But I'm going to say this one thing, and then just remember, tell your husband, never promise anything to God or to some spiritual being. And she paused and she went, what do you mean? Well, maybe your husband should call me. But make sure he never asks for some gigantic spiritual favor. That was my advice to this woman. Yeah. Okay. Cristina, God just cut off the telephones. So you'll have to retype the stuff. Do we have our guest ready to go?
We do.
Okay.
Go to her, or?
Yeah, and then put the names up of the other folks. We'll get to them in a minute, right. Plus your voice box calls. Kevin Meaney, before we go to CallienteResort.com and Deb Bowen, are you appearing somewhere that we should know about before we...
Yes, I'll be in Boston at the Davis Theater on September 22nd, part of the Boston Comedy Festival. And tonight, I am going to be at the People's Improv Theater at 9:30 p.m. on 24th and Park Avenue, with a show called Cold Soda with my friend Chris Grace.
Kevin Meaney is truly, no matter what he sounds like on this show, he is very funny on stage, and he is the comedian's comedian, and loved by Johnny Carson.
That's right.
And Jay Leno. And
I like him. He's really funny.
If you've never seen him perform, he is an absolute treat. And listen to this one, Garrett. Kevin Meaney is a better comedian than I could ever have been. Whoa! That's why I didn't become a stand-up.
Wow.
There were too many good ones out there. There were.
Well,
I started with the Wayans brothers.
Broadcast Hall of Fame, aren't you?
I am.
Who's the better actor?
Oh, God, please stop it. Don't go any further. Don't go any further. How about arm wrestler? Well, why don't we go there, too? Deb Bowen, welcome. Go to Callinete, which means hotresort.com. The Callinete Spa and Resort, nudism and clothing optional lifestyle expert. Deb, have you been on the show before? We've had people from the Callinete on before. Have we talked to you?
I possibly have. I do a lot of radio.
Yeah. Now, are you nude?
Now?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Are you naked right now?
Well, no, but I have a wrap on. It's okay. It's saran.
So you don't have any underdress on?
She has saran
wrap.
Yeah. Now, where is the Callinete Spa and Resort? Is it it's a company or is it a chain of places?
Well, we actually have two. It's CallienteResorts.com.
Yeah.
We have one in Tampa and one in the Dominican Republic.
Oh, I bet the Dominican Republic, you can do a lot of crazy shit down there, huh?
Well, you can always do a lot more outside the U.S. than you can in.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing that, and people love the, naturist philosophy and we were talking, who was it that you said Kevin loved to have an air bath? Benjamin Franklin?
Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah. Benjamin Franklin seemed to be a bit of a nudist too, Deb. Do you have any, like pictures of famous naked people on the grounds?
Well, we don't allow cameras on the grounds, so and it's a privacy thing. So.
No, but I mean, would you have a hall of naked fame? Nudism fame.
We actually do, but it's not in public. No, we have a large list of very important, influential people that have been to the resort, either here in Tampa, Florida, or the one in the Dominican Republic.
Were there any nudists?
From famous people to judges and, generals and teachers and doctors and.
Well, I'm going to ask this question. This is one reason why I'm having you on. Even it has nothing to do with being bad or inappropriate. Did you see your clientele go up during the convention in Tampa by the Republican National Convention? Were there Republican nudists that came?
Oddly enough, actually, the numbers were up.
The numbers were up. But they would be embarrassed, I think, if their names were publicized. Why is that?
Well, it's actually just a privacy or a right of privacy. Some of them wouldn't care, I'm sure. Some of them would not want the rest of the RNC to know that they were hanging out at the nudie place, which are actually clothing optional.
Now, here's the thing. Every time I've had maybe you on or other people on, they make the nudism. They say, and it really has nothing to do with sex. And it's difficult for me and the many more people who don't prescribe to nudism in public or in closed-in areas. Well, I mean, it is about sex on some level. It's got to be. I mean, I think it's got to be a secret because if I'm around all day with naked people, at night or having a couple of cocktails or playing around, it would make me want to, make love to them.
I mean, some people it does, but in reality, and I've been in this business for a very long time, I always get the newbies, the people who are like, oh, we really want to try it, but we don't know what to expect, and oh my God, where do I put my eyes, and I don't know where to look, and what if I get, what if something happens? And I always tell them, don't worry about it, just come on in, we can do the tour. They kind of go and they're wearing their bathing suits and they're laying by the pool, and then a little while later you'll see the girl's top off, and a little while later you will see them completely naked, and then at that time I walk back over and I go, wow, welcome to Callinete. It looks like you're fitting in real well. And they generally all have the same response in one form or another. We were really so worried about coming here, or so concerned, or so curious, and we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know if there was going to be sex everywhere. We didn't know where to look. We didn't know what to do. But really, now that we're here, the shock value comes in that we weren't nearly as shocked as we thought we were going to be. And it's really when we were laying here with our bathing suits on, we started feeling a little overdressed.
What about if somebody pops a boner?
If that happens, which it generally doesn't, because, guys, it's really hard to perform on command.
I know,
right.
But if they're laying there on the chaise lounge and they've got a huge hard-on for an hour,
it's embarrassing.
You go over there?
Well, first of all, it wouldn't be for an hour. But we do have our security and our staff will maybe go over and say, excuse me, you might want to get up and take a walk, or maybe put a towel over you, or wake up and
Now, wait a minute. Now, hold it. Wait one sec. Now, wait one sec. Here we go again. Here we go. If it's natural and the hard-on comes on naturally, do you think women or men would find that to be offensive that there's a hard-on in front of them by the pool?
Yeah, if they actually fell asleep on the chaise lounge, and when you sleep, you always get an erection. So,
well, you might have 50.
Because of the other people laying around them, or is it because they would get a chub if they were taking a nap in their backyard?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is why wouldn't you just say, well, that's cool? It's just part of the natural thing.
I mean, it's not that it's not cool. It's just that I'm sure if you were the one laying there sleeping with a big chub, and people were walking by going, look at the guy with a heart on, you would prefer somebody maybe to nudge you awake a little bit and go,
Me personally, I would find that fantastic.
Yeah, well, he's a game. Now, wait a second now. Also, they say in the hospitals, they take an ice-cold spoon and they pop the head of it, and that makes it go down. You might want to say that to the security folks at Callinete.
I'll mention that. Plastic or stainless?
No, an ice-cold metal spoon and just a little pop with the concave side, the one that fits over the head.
You said, Jay, instead of forking them, you would spoon them?
Yeah,
that's right. Now, Deb,
you're going to be spooning at the pool.
Deb, is nudism growing in the United States? Are your resorts becoming more popular? I mean, not that people will talk about it all. You know, I was having a drink with my cousin in New Orleans, and she looked over at two looked like a biker chick and her husband, and she goes, oh, my God, those people live in my neighborhood. And they go, oh, God, they're nudists. That's what she said to me. And so, it's still got that shock factor. Is it growing as an event for people?
Well, I definitely think that it is growing across the nation. Right. As a matter of fact, the nudist industry or the clothing optional industry has had less of an impact in the economy than most other businesses.
Wow. You have less expenses. We were saying that. You have less expenses. You don't dry clean as much.
No laundry.
No laundry. Now, if I met you and you and I are sitting and we're, unattached.
There might be some problems with the sheets, though, if somebody leaks out some feces.
That's right. You and I are talking. Disregard that. And you said to me that you were a nudist. I would immediately think that if we went back to your place, to have a drink or whatever, that you would be easier than another woman that wasn't a nudist. That's what I would think.
Okay, I would think that if you were having dinner with me or another woman and she just out of the blue came up to you and said, guess what? I'm a nudist. And left it at that, perhaps that's what she was intending. But if you asked me what my lifestyle choices were, or we got into the conversation, and I told you that, and then offered more of an insight to that lifestyle, you probably wouldn't.
You know what I would do, and this is why I love myself. I would go, well, I'm not into that lifestyle because it makes me nervous. Like, I couldn't imagine sitting with you naked. This is what I'd say at the dinner table. I couldn't imagine sitting with you naked and not wanting to do something with you, but I would like to try it. And I would want to go.
Jay.
It's a great line. And I would mean it, too. I wouldn't be kidding. I would go back to your house. We would both take our clothes off or whatever, and we would walk around and talk or whatever. And I'm going to tell you something. We wouldn't do anything that first night. But I know that after that first night, once I got you into my confidence, I think that we'd be having a wild, I would use that psychologically.
Well, I think that if you accepted the second date, that it already would be on its way to something, whether or not you were naked on the first meeting or not.
I'm going to book you again tomorrow, Deb.
That's good.
Yeah. Deb Bowen, is it Bowen or Bowen? How do you say it?
It's Bowen, unless you follow it by Wow. It's Bowen.
CallienteResort.com.
And it's Calliente Resort right now.
CallienteResort.com. And can I say, you do have a beautiful natural body. May I say that?
Can you see her naked now?
I can. Calliente Resort and Spa Nudism. Thank you so much, Deb. Thank you. Gorgeous. And I'm going to keep it and not going to charge you any interest or anything. And so they Now, this sounds crazy, but I got some fabulous stuff just in the last 3 weeks. This one guy, he wanted $1,600. They had, his insurance is lapsed, and he's in real trouble, and he spent his rent money that his buddy gave. I mean, they always have a story, right? So I said, you have some incredible things from your mom, and the mother is from Norway. And I remember these gorgeous things in his mother's home. And his mom is now in some sort of a, like one of these, care
nursing
places,
home.
right? Yeah. So I got from him this beautiful glass buoy that has this rope around it, and it's in great shape, that floated ashore that his grandfather found when he was a fisherman in Alaska, and they think it came from an earthquake in Japan. And it was gorgeous. So I got that. And I went on, actually my wife went online last night. It's worth $500 or $600. So I gave him $500 for that. Then he had this incredible Norwegian chest that has something in Norwegian on it, and you can see the rings of the tree that was cut down to make this kind of a seaman's chest. It is
a seaman's chest.
Yes, 1862 on the side of it. And so I said, I don't know if that is worth, I don't know what that's worth, but I will give you I'll give you $1,000 for this.
Worth all the tea in China.
But he also has a really cool leather chair. And I said I'd lend him some more money for that. And then I've been doing the same
sit naked
thing.
on the leather chair.
You will be surprised. Now, maybe not, of your age group, Garrett and Cristina, but people have things that have value to them. It's almost like being a pawnbroker. You get to keep it, by the way, and use it or decorate your home with it or whatever. And if they ever pay you back, okay, you give it back to them. I got a Rolex watch from a guy.
This needs to be the next reality show, because they have all the pawn stars, but this is like you're a pawn shop.
But you're not.
But you're not, and it's your friends, and then you could get into why your friends need the money and all these hard-up stories and stuff. I like it.
It has to be someone that borrows money from you. Like Kevin, let's say you needed a couple of $1,000.
I do, by the way, and
I know you do.
To the house.
I would come to the house. Mm-hmm. Tell me what you'd have that would be valuable, not just to you, but would be valuable for me to have and put into a home or an apartment or have in my possession. Do you have something worth?
An original Peter Max painting.
Well, then let me tell you something. My sister-in-law dated Peter Max, was Peter Max's, girlfriend, and he painted stuff for her and for my wife when they were dating, and so we have some originals, and I think they're signed to them or whatever. That has real value to it, and I would say it's worth X, and then I would say, okay, we're going to put it in our home, and when you want it back, or when Kate wants it, right, I would tell my children that if ever, I'm not joking, if ever Kate Meany wants the Peter Max back, it's $2,000, and then that'll be. I mean, would you do something like that, Kevin?
I have an original Renoir lithograph signed by Renoir.
Well, I have to authenticate that.
How much of a markup do you like? If someone wants to borrow $1,000, what value of item will you accept?
It's almost like when you go into an antique store. It's almost like a car. If you think it has that value to you and you give them the money, sometimes I'll look at like I didn't think I was going to get anywhere near the $1,600 or whatever that my buddy wanted. When he delivered this chest today, it is so beautiful and so interesting that now I'm lucky because when I told my wife this last night, I don't have the kind of wife that goes, "What are you doing? Why are you giving the money?" I don't know. I don't know. And some friend of hers needed some money the other day, and I said, look, just write her a check, for whatever it is. I mean, if we have it, we'll give it, right? But now it's getting to the point where some of these friends of mine are really, it's getting over the top here.
This is where you're not the Republican, okay? This is where you're the good guy.
Well, no, wait a minute, though. I really do believe I'm getting some things of value. Not that I'm going to sell them.
I know, but that's also being a really good guy. I mean, you're people call you and say, listen, I need, $500 $500. Can you lend me $500? You're like, yeah, we got it. We'll lend it to you. You know.
You know, Garrett. And Kevin. All kidding aside, it may be a really good reality show, and of course, I'm still dealing with those guys, and CNN's about to do it. But how would it work exactly? Because I'm thinking right now, car, and I'll tell you why. My brother had this incredible Corvette, and it was the last year that they made the Corvette with metal bumpers or something. So I want to say it might have been 1966. But, of course, it had the air conditioner dismantled and was sitting in the passenger seat, right? And it sat too low, and every time we tried to pull it out of the driveway. So I go back home, I find that he has, double mortgaged my mother's home, which was paid for, 30 years before. And I put my mother in the home. I take over the house. I go to Countrywide. I pay all of these, penalties and everything else. I'm so fucking mad at my brother. I go, okay, you're out of this house. Move into the goddamn garage. And I said, and this Corvette is now mine. Okay? I own that fucking thing. So he starts telling me what a great car it is and all. And my son probably was 15 at the time. He starts saying, oh, Dad, that car's worth a lot of money, and we should take that car and everything else. So my brother goes online, and he finds a guy in, I think, Amsterdam who wants the car. And we probably didn't sell it for anywhere near enough, Garrett, like 15 or 16,000 bucks. Or my brother might have sold it for $25,000 and given me $15,000 of it, right? But he found a guy online. My brother had the thing carted down to the fucking dock and put on a big ship and shipped over to the guy. He refinished it and sold it for $50,000 to some Japanese or whatever. But I did that with my brother. I got that, 13 grand.
So that's how the show would go. It'd start off, and you'd be like, all right, I'm going to my friend's house, and you get there, and the first segment is he explains why he needs the money, and blah, blah, blah. Then you say, well, what will you trade me for it?
But stuff like this, like I got in a wreck and I didn't go to the court. I mean, it's all shithole stuff. It's
Well, that's interesting too.
I gambled. I went to the casino, and I had my rent with me. But it can't always be my friends. I mean, I run out of people that owe me money. How would I have it? How would I do it, like, in the community, like around, like make it a TV show? How would you use other people, or would you make deals for other people is the question,
Oh, you could be the arbiter between friends.
And by the way, you can go online and check it out, or you could bring a person in. But Kevin, does this make sense? It's really that you'd like to lend them the money, but you're tired of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
and you want to feel like you're getting something. Like the thing may only be worth a couple $100, Garrett, but you give them $500, so at least you have that excuse.
I mean, I've been taken to the cleaners so many times, because being a nice guy, somebody they couldn't pay their rent. Oh, we'll pay you. Don't worry, I'll pay you back. I've never seen it. I buried a friend of mine. Her dad died, and it was going to be put in a pauper's grave, and I paid for the gravestone and the burial. I want to go back out there and dig that motherfucker up. I have never seen a dime of that money. And I've never... I buried the father.
And how can you even bring it up? Like, so, can I get the money for your dead dad?
No,
well,
into the room now.
I tell you what, I'm going to have to get this guy's name. My buddy, close friend of mine, David Rashi, is a terrific character actor. He's even been on the show. And David's a great guy, too, but a real actor. And they've never made a ton of money, but he works all the time in movies and all. There was a voiceover guy, and the voiceover guy I would see all the time at these auditions. So one day I go into a voiceover audition, and this guy is there, and David is there as my friend, and we start talking, but I notice that David is, like, agitated or something. And he and the other guy, like, talk to each other, but there's a problem. So I walk out with David, and I go, man, what was that about? He goes, let me tell you what it's about. About 10 years ago, this guy borrows, like, $10,000 or $15,000 from me for a divorce or something that was going on. And he's never brought the money up, and he's never paid me back. And I said, well, that guy does really well in the voiceover world, and he does cartoon voices. He says, I know. I know he does. So I said to David, I said, well, have you ever asked him for the money back? And I think he said, like, no, he hasn't or whatever. I'm going, you have to fucking either ask him for the money back, prove that you, and I mean this, get a fucking attorney and sue the guy. But he wouldn't do it. He would not hear. My brother's the same way. My brother used to lend everything to people, everything. And he would never get the equipment back, the money back, nothing. And I used to get really mad at him all the time. And he said to me, I'd give you the shirt off my back. I said, man, you'd give anybody the shirt off your back. That's the problem, right?
But so even if you bring somebody to small claims court, like which, I've tried to do, and it's like, the maximum is like $5,000 for small claims court. You can win in small claims court, and they'll never pay you. And then you'll have to go to another court. So it's just a no-win situation. Because you'd have to spend more money to go to real court. Even if you won in small claims court, they're not going to do anything.
Well, you know what Art Sears, who is the main, producer of our guest, but doesn't like to come on the radio.
I love Art Sears.
He's really great. Art had wanted me to do a show, and I'm going to say it now and say that Art Sears owns this idea completely. And it's when people borrow shit from other people and they don't return it, I would have been the host of a show where you go and negotiate the return, right? And I like a lawnmower or plates or whatever. But actually, Garrett, as an offshoot of that, when you're sick of your cousin borrowing money or your daughter's fucked up or whatever, they've got something, even if it's the television. They have got something like if I owed you money, you could fly to something, You could fly to yes, exactly right. You could fly to New Orleans, and let's say I owed you $1,000. You would go in and you would look at paintings or whatever, and Garrett, you could find $1,000 in my house, right? Of something, and then when you left, you would really feel as though you were paid back. Now, is it worth $1,000? I don't know. But if you saw something there, you said, wow, I don't believe I'm ever going to see anything like this again. And you took it, right? Like my picture of Drew Brees. You took it home. You would feel like you got your money back. And at the end of the day, I would feel like, shit, I lost something of real value to me, and I'm going to try and get the $1,000 or whatever it is and pay it back. Yeah, there is a show there. That's interesting. That's cool.
I have a pencil drawing of myself that Tony Bennett did of me.
$10.
Yeah,
it to me.
Now, you know what? You got some good shit.
Yeah.
You really do.
Oh, I do.
Now, of course, I have to ask my wife if it's going to fit in to our, decorative motif. And if it does, then I'm allowed to write, the check. So.
I just bought a 6-foot-tall bear.
Yeah.
That's a coat rack, and it's made out of wood. I bought it at the auction a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, wonder why you're broke. Yeah.
And it's carved, and it's got like bears climbing this pole. And it's absolutely...
I thought it was going to be a masculine thing, but as you describe it, it sounds so fucking gay. I would never have it in my head.
Masculine.
No, it isn't.
Bears climbing a pole is masculine.
Not the... Garrett, little tiny baby bears climbing a pole.
They're not baby bears. They're big, big, mean bears. Black bears, brown bears.
Katie Couric, I was talking about this earlier. Katie Couric's first guest on her brand new show was Jessica Simpson.
Yes.
And every reviewer said that tuned in, they went, what is she doing? And it was about how much weight she gained, being married and having a baby. And
what was that brownie that she loved? She liked the brownie.
The slutty brownie.
The slutty brownie, yeah.
Chocolate chip cookie dough and Cheerio or whatever it was. One reviewer said, if she's lost weight, I guess maybe the camera must put 25 pounds on you.
Oh, that's horrible.
She looked overweight on the show. And then they went to some hard news or whatever, and she has been talking to her fans, this is Katie Couric, on Twitter with girlish tweets proclaiming that now call her Katie. Don't call her... don't call her Miss Couric or anything else. She wants to be called Katie, wants everyone to say it. and that she has been watching the dance-offs on all of the reality shows, and she has been trying to grow her out-of-control sunflowers, and she starts talking about middle-aged dating. I mean, oh, my God.
And then she had her junior high girlfriends on, who she just talked but wouldn't allow them to talk.
And then she showed the pictures of her dead husband, who died of cancer in 1998. Yes, she did. And she wanted to prove her...
Was that his name, Jay Monahan?
I don't know what the last name was. He was supposed to be a good guy. I know he was a great guy.
I think it was Monahan.
And then her girlfriends came on and all that. I mean, the woman doesn't need any money. I mean, it almost seems like she could have a more interesting show than that, but maybe they wouldn't make any money. Now, Garrett, would you look up, or Cristina, who is Kelly Pozzoli? Does anybody know who that is? It's a woman.
Cannolis.
No. Kelly Pozzoli. She was Jeff Probst's first guest. Now, she has no hair, so I'm sure she's a cancer victim. So Katie Couric brought up her husband. Now, see if Kelly Pozzoli is a cancer victim. They had her on there. Steve Harvey's show will be hysterical. And then Ricky Lake is back on the air. I have no idea why. But just...
Go, Ricky. Go, Ricky.
Yeah, who is Pozzoli? Do you know who that is,
I don't
Cristina?
know. I can't... I don't think it's anybody.
Pozzoli.
Oli.
Kelly Pozzoli.
Yeah, cervical cancer patient.
Oh, God, that's cervical cancer.
Yeah, that's why Jeff Probst had her on. Now, the funny thing about Jeff Probst was...
Her husband is serving in Afghanistan.
Yeah, he is incredibly wealthy from being the tribe leader, whatever the hell it was. And I remember reading about him, and he was also a movie producer. We never saw those movies. He was the guy that held the stick or whatever on the TV show. He ended up making a whole bunch of money. Do you think people really watch Survivor because Jeff Probst had anything to do with it? I know that was amazing to me. And he's one of these kind of manufactured, important people in his own mind. He's the guy that handed the stick off to people when they got thrown off the island or whatever the hell it was. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but talentless. I mean, he ought to be on QVC, for Christ's sake. So they've got him doing a talk show and stuff. Also, the big talk is, how can Taylor Swift be dating a Kennedy boy who's 4 years younger than she is? Cristina, you know that kid is wailing on her 22-year-old ass. Don't you know it? At 18?
Of course.
He is insatiable.
He's a Kennedy. Hello?
He is a Kennedy. He is insatiable. Recently, this is a rumor now, Kevin, he was able to bang her from behind and not spill his beer that was on her ass. That's actually somebody tweeted that.
All the Kennedys are able to do that.
Are you just trying to say she's skinny? Too skinny?
Well, the other thing is, he's richer than her by 30 times. People always go, gee, how do they have so much money? The Kennedys and the Rockefellers and the Gettys, all that money was made long before income tax. So you're talking about people that were worth, close to $1 billion before World War II. I mean, it's money that, and the Depression could hit, anything could happen to them, and the money doesn't go anywhere. I mean, all of those Kennedys. Yeah. All of those Kennedys have, even the ones that are way down the line, they pick up millions of dollars a year just off of whatever the investments were. I told you I played golf once with a Rockefeller. I don't know which Rockefeller it was, but one of the ones.
Maybe it was that Rockefeller that really wasn't a Rockefeller.
No, this was a real Rockefeller. So he knocks the shit out of the golf ball. He plays like a pro. And I'm playing with him, and Daniel Baldwin, by the way, who was with he had his guy that watched him, make sure he wouldn't, drink out of the bag or something. And I said to the Rockefeller guy, I said, I don't know if his name was Steven or whatever. I said, where do you play in New York? And he said, at my home. That's what he said to me. I said, at your home? Yeah, my grandfather. Oh, I said, that's right. Built this incredible golf course. Yes, at their home. And
in Tarrytown.
Yes. I mean, he wasn't kidding. And he was a nice guy. So in the middle of the game, he gets a phone call from his wife, and he's talking to his wife like you'd be talking, and then he hangs it up. He says, you're asking me about the golf course. My wife is out there right now with her girlfriends. Listen to this, Cristina. And they just brought her lunch and set up the table and everything, and they were having their lunch at their own golf course out in the middle of the... Yeah. Now, the way he said it, it was like...
Gardener.
What's funny is, what I said to him? I said, it's funny? My wife just delivered lunch to the pool at our country club. That's where she works at the country club.
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence. Yeah, I mean, that's how they have...
a potato in her ass.
Hey, somebody else stole your big pants, but changed it into the little pants. There's a commercial where the guy comes out, and I know it's an ad lib. He goes,
the email you just sent me?
No. Time to put your little pants on, your little boy pants on.
Yeah.
It's an actor in a commercial who I know ad libbed this and stole your, big boy pants thing.
I'm big pants. Not
you're the big
little boy pants.
Let's go to Pete of Tampa. Yes, Pete, how are you in Tampa?
Hey now. Hey, for your show, why don't you have them either have to do some work or something humiliating to pay the other person back?
No, but you know what? It's not about humiliation. It's honest. Like my friend came to me, and he was so worried. I mean, literally, he had to tell his buddy that he'd spent his money. His brother was no longer going to give him any more money at all. He borrows my car all the time. He's a guy I know, and I said, look, man, I just can't keep giving you the stuff. And he says, well, I got a couple of fabulous things. And I said, let me look at them. And they were things that I had admired. And I said, okay, I'll give you the money. It's not about humiliation. I don't know what world you're in.
That makes it funnier, though.
Well, it isn't funny. You don't want to. No, you're acting like I'm talking about people that are in real fucking trouble. And if they don't get a couple, $2-3 grand. And you know what else? The other thing was I was going to take the title to his car and sell it. Now, I don't fuck around, by the way. And I'm not trying to humiliate. And if 6 months had passed, I'd have sold his car. And he looked at me and he went, you would do it. I said, you betcha. So he said, let me give you these other two things. Why do you want to see humiliation? I mean, these are tough times.
That's what a reality TV show is all nowadays. It's all about...
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be about that.
Yeah, Pawn Stars isn't about humiliation. It's just the main gist of Pawn Stars is they look up the history of old items, and that's what people are watching for.
You're just repeating what everybody else is doing. Do something a little different.
No, that's how do you get on air? You repeat what everyone else is doing.
Hey, Pete, I don't know what you do for a living, but one of them is you're not my advisor, so shut the fuck up and get rid of this asshole, okay? I hate when these fucking zeros call up here who have never been near. The closest you've been to show business is your fucking 50-inch fucking, HD television, jerk off. Don't ever call up here and enter in the fucking real arena, the real fucking arena where we really live and die to try and entertain you fucking assholes. Don't ever call up here and give us advice. Ever. You don't know anything about it. You kept your bullshit job. You stayed with your fucking wife so she could live near her mother. You raised your fucking kids, and you never did one dangerous thing in your life that meant you abandoned everything you didn't want to do and went for the thing you really should have done. Don't ever call up here and tell a Kevin Meaney or a me or a Cristina or a Garrett anything about show business or taking a chance, because 99% of you, that's right, we're the 1%, haven't done a fucking thing except sit on your asses, complain, make fun of, or humiliate, or whatever the hell it is. You've never done one fucking thing. A lot of you know it, and I admire that. But for those of you that have tried something and failed, don't call us either. Because you're losers, okay? You're losers. Many people go, what about if you've tried? No. If you've tried and failed, you're a loser. You should have kept trying things until you won. That's all, okay? That's it. Let's go to Big Mike of Westchester. Yes, Big Mike. Hello.
Hi, Jay.
Yes, sir.
I want to tie in. You were talking about karma early in the show and loaning money to people that you know and everything.
Yes. By the way, you know what, Mike? You're right. I do think if I do these kind of good things that Kevin said, even my buddy said it last night as I'm giving him the check. He said, you know what? I hope good shit happens for you. I said, man, I'm giving you this check and watching this shit for a while until you pay me back. I'm hoping the same thing. I'm not even going to lie to the God of karma. I want good shit to happen for the good shit I'm doing. You're right, Mike.
It's sort of like dealing with the golf gods, you know? You don't
exactly.
wanna mess with them either.
Kevin's a golfer also. It's like, you're right.
You know, I shoot in the low 80s.
I know you do.
Any
If
warmer,
it gets
I
any
don't
hotter
play.
than that, you don't play. Hey, by the way, Mike, one day I've been using the same driver forever. One day, a guy gives me a fabulous new driver. Fabulous to use.
What, does it have a nice shaft?
It does. It's a stiff shaft, Kevin.
Big head.
And I'm knocking the shit out of the ball, knocking the shit out of it. And and all of a sudden I go back to the old driver and the guy says, don't you ever use that old driver again, ever. I said, why? He goes, because the new driver will never let you hit it again. Of course, I used the old driver. When I put it back and tried the new driver, I could never hit it again. So that's exactly correct, Mike.
Sure, you just lose the feel. That's
you do. And he said, I told you. He took it back. He said, so just use that old piece of shit you got because this other driver will never hit again.
Well, maybe he didn't psych you out.
You'll never have a problem.
No, it isn't psych. I go like this. Fuck you. I get the thing. Whoop, right in the water. I mean, you know, of course, everybody laughs. And then I get another ball. I said, okay, that didn't happen. Here we go. Whoop, boink. You know, there you go. That ball will forever be confined to the deep.
Jay, you're a real golfer, so you understand the golf gods.
Yes, Mike, go ahead.
Yes. Anyway, I wanted to, real quick, I'm the Daisy Cake guy. I sent you some cake a while back. So I had a customer, and he lent money to his brother. And his brother eventually told him, listen, you're never going to see that money again. I don't know, it was $10,000, $20,000.
Yeah,
right. Short, the brother moves to Costa Rica with his wife and his kids. He winds up drowning.
Right.
Saving his kid in the water. So that's bad karma. Bad karma.
You mean the borrower drowned?
Correct. The brother drowned.
Well, usually the karma, it isn't on the borrower. I don't know why, but the zeros never get it. When you loan a relative money and you don't physically get something, you're really not going to get it back. I don't think ever.
Even in writing.
So you think... Wait a second.
Or a gay lover.
You think that the guy why didn't he get the money back from the widow after the brother died?
Oh, he tried.
Right.
It never happened. It hasn't happened, and just that's just the way it is. You know.
Look, I got murdered. I got murdered by a friend. I told that story about an hour ago, and it was so awful. And every year I try and, we're not making any profit, none of us. And I know that one day I'll be able to write off the loss. But that's all I do every year is go, can we start writing that down a little bit? I mean, it's the worst thing that ever happened. And it was, when I made a fuck up and I lost my money, okay, fine. But to have somebody tell you they're going to pay you back, oh my God.
And you're doing it out of your good graces.
I had the money, and I thought it would be interesting. He kept wanting to help the kids and all that shit. But, oh, my God, all he had to say to me is, look, man, we're broke. We're in real trouble. And I'd have gone, okay, you've been great to me. Here's whatever I can afford in real money, right? And try and pay me back if you can. And if you can't, at least give it to me as a write-off. I'd have had to sit with my wife and, tell her what I was doing, and we may never get the money back. But to just fuck me, and when I tell you I love them like my parents, and I hope he's burning in hell. His daughter turned out to be a horrible bitch, still lives in Charlotte. I hope nothing but bad happens to her personally. I know she's horrible to her fucking husband. He looks frightened all the time. Okay, this is my opinion. I don't have any proof of any of this. And I keep waiting for the older woman. I keep waiting to get a note saying, I'm about to die and I've made plans to get the kids their money back. But that's never going to happen. Never going to fucking happen.
Jay, that sounds like the Italian in you coming out.
Oh, by the way, and if I read about them dying, I don't give three shits.
Right.
And people say to me, oh, yes, you do. No, I don't. I absolutely
What about
don't.
like when you haven't you sent stuff in boxes? Like
chicken bones.
Yeah. Why don't
Well,
you,
what's
like,
bad
when
is, you know what? There was a
when
GM.
You should send her like some like a big, turd in a box.
I did that also. I sent turds in boxes. I've done everything. But I did send chicken bones. No, cow pies. I did send chicken bones to somebody, and the guy did get cancer. And he lived. But I thought about and he really wasn't he was used as a puppet to hurt me. But
the Jack in the Box guy?
No, that fucking asshole. He's richer than ever. All right, Big Mike, thank you very much.
May I ask Kevin a quick question?
Sure, go ahead.
I live in Yorktown, Kevin. I'm wondering, I don't see you doing a Christmas show in Tarrytown this year.
Not this year. I think we're taking a year off. We'll be back the following year.
Okay, sorry to hear that. I've met you once. You're a good man.
Hey, Big Mike, how does that work? He has a Christmas show and he gets all the money. Is that how that works? I don't quite get it.
Tell me. I'm a big concert guy. I'm always curious how it works. I'm a humongous Springsteen fan. I'm always curious how a guy like that, what he makes every night.
Yeah,
Maybe
but Kevin, no, I'm looking at Kevin. Yeah, so you have a Christmas show with Santa Claus and what, carols and shit, and you tell jokes and you get money for it? It's fine with me, but okay.
Yeah, that's what I do.
It's a Christmas show, Jay.
Okay. Well, I only played the Easter Bunny.
Andy Williams, he doesn't make money off his Christmas show every year?
But I wanted to come as the Easter Bunny from the Santa Claus movies, and you're weird about sharing the money. You're really weird.
That is not true. I would have you anytime. I would, but it's not a big.
How about Garrett when I mentioned that we might do a comedy show together, like at Caroline's or something, and boy, that goes nowhere with this guy.
I'll do it.
Like his
I'll do
dog
it
video.
No, it's because you think you're more of a professional, and you're up there with the.
Jay, I would love to do a show with you anytime, anywhere. We've always had.
Because there's a possibility in North Carolina that we might do a comedy show, and a guy said, "What about Kevin Meaney?" I said, "He's weird about money, really weird, and I don't want to get into a fucking thing with who's bigger and who's all that. Because I'm going to tell you who's bigger. I am in this situation. Yeah,
you are.
Well, then listen. How about this triumph? How about a triumvirate? Jay Thomas, Kevin Meaney, and Shuley. That would work awesome.
I like it.
No. It's Jay Thomas presents, and then these other people luckily get on the show. That's all.
There you go.
I'm like Don Kirshner. Remember him? No one knew who he was. Don Kirshner. That's exactly right.
That's right.
Ed Sullivan. I'm the head fucking guy, and you will fucking tap dance for me at my pleasure. All right, thank you, Big Mike.
You're Don Kirshner, and he just passed away, so may he rest.
Yes, he did. Let's go to Paul of Las Vegas. Yes, Paul. What can you tell us about being fucked out of money? It says here you're a tax attorney that wants to speak. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, Jay, anytime that you loan money to anybody and you deem it unrecoverable, you can deduct a portion of that every year on your taxes until the entire sum is recovered.
You know what that amount is, though, Paul?
What was that?
You know what the amount is every year?
It's about $2,500.
Thank you. It's like $3,000. Thank you. So in 100 years, Paul, I'll get my $300,000 back, okay?
No, but if you
Paul, by the way, if I live another fucking 100 years, I will have forgiven those people, okay, by then.
Yeah,
it's $3,000 a year. It sucks. It sucks.
No, that's per unrecoverable debt. That's not just one. That's for every debtor. I mean, that's for everyone you loan money to.
Well, I only loaned money to one person and didn't get it back. Okay, only one person. Okay, and then on other losses, like on real estate losses and stuff, do you get a $3,000 credit also, or just unrecoverable debt?
Correct, but it's better than nothing.
Yes, it is, but it's close to nothing, Paul.
Yes, it is close to nothing.
Yeah, you know what, Paul? I don't know how many times you've listened to me. If you don't know much about me, I unless I get a major portion back, I am unhappy. Okay? But thank you, Paul. Thank you very much, Paul, for telling me that. Will of New Jersey. Yes, Will, it's Jay Thomas. Yes.
Hey, Jay, I'm loving the anger today.
I'm not angry.
No, I'm not. You're not angry. Yes, you are.
But I'm really not angry.
You went off on a few minutes ago about being the one.
But you know, it's not anger. And people always say this to me, and my wife sometimes will go, well, I guess you showed them. I go, what do you mean I showed them? I'll say something honest, And the other night,
yes,
the other night she brought something. What's funny is she doesn't have a memory for a lot of things, except for things I've said. So we were talking about a woman that used to work for us. And she was a really large woman, and she was a Native American. And she... That's right.
Indian stand-up comedian.
And she had this beautiful speaking voice. And I just didn't think of it. I did not think of it.
Was it Elizabeth Warren?
She did have this beautiful speaking voice. So my wife the other night, I forget what we're watching, but I say, oh, wow, that's like something I would say, you know, trying to be, you know, honest or tell a story, and it hurts someone's feelings. And all of a sudden, with the cat in her lap, she turns to me and she goes, do you remember the time you came home from the radio station and you announced in the room with the kids and the nanny, you know these women that call up on the phone, the ones that have the prettiest voices are always the fattest and the ugliest. And she said our babysitter's face, the blood drained her face because apparently she would call, you know, disc jockeys and stuff at night. And I went, oh my God. And my wife had never mentioned it to me. And of course I didn't even think of her with her voice and her size and everything. I just, you know, she was an employee. It was like, I might as well be talking to the fucking furniture, right? And I said, oh my God. So, it's like, you know, 15 years later, and I went, oh, you're kidding. She goes, no, it was awful. It was just awful. So yes, I'm being honest. There are people out there that they've never attempted anything. And they have the audacity to comment on someone who has attempted something and who's gone to another level. Listen, all of us I gave up a child and then left another woman with another fucking kid, fucking debris behind me, right? And okay, Kevin Meaney, I'm sure you had slings and arrows of people that said, what are you thinking being a comedian, right, Kevin? I mean,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, your parents, they wanted you to be a priest or a lawyer.
You can't do that.
Right. And Cristina, she told her husband that she wanted to be in radio and would come to work in the subway, some crazy dangerous shit right at 4 a.m. to work for free, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Right?
True.
Where's that fucking asshole husband of yours now, the ex-husband? Really? What's he done? Has he done anything?
I haven't talked to him since I signed the papers.
Does he have a show on any radio channel anywhere?
No.
Is he someone that we could admire?
Radio. I bet he hears me sometimes, though. Hi.
Has he written a book or anything?
No.
Nothing. Zero. What did he say to you about your dreams of getting into radio?
What did
he say to you?
When I asked him if let's say somebody ever hears me and I get like a morning drive in like Oklahoma, will you come with me? And he goes, I don't understand why it has to be Oklahoma. And I said, it's a hypothetical. It's my dream. It's the morning. And he was like,
right.
Well, what am I going to do out there? And I was like, you're going to get a job like everybody else that lives in Oklahoma. But would you come with me? And he was like, I don't understand why it has to be Oklahoma.
Wait a second. Did he think you were going to get in radio?
I'm assuming no. Like in the beginning, I think that he thought it was just a pipe dream.
But you know something, Will? I'm going to add something else to you. If my wife came to me and announces that she wants to be a weather woman or a news woman or something, you know what I would say to her? Are you fucking nuts? You will have these two fucking kids.
Your wife is in her 50s now, and Cristina.
No, if we were in our 30s, and she announces to me that she wants to be on TV or something, I would have said, are you fucking nuts? So you must also look at someone, and I think I have a good gauge. You have to look at someone and decide whether they're going to make it or not before you make that comment. Okay? So that's another problem.
So you bring up something current. Yesterday, my wife told me she does not want me to go get my master's and potentially teach at the college level because she can't trust me with college students. So what do you think about that? How do you proceed with
I got a buddy of mine who's been married for years. His wife will not let him out of her sight and everything else. That's because your wife has caught you with another woman already.
Oh, she has. Yes, you're right.
Okay, that's right. Women don't think that because my wife has never accused me of anything, called me. I've never not been where I'm supposed to be and everything else. And so consequently, I could be, swimming naked with women across, the English Channel. And she's never said it. So you're not trustworthy. It's ridiculous.
It's my own fault.
Foolish. Yes. Well, no. And you don't need to be with her. So get your master's degree and teach college, but you have a shitty relationship.
Yes, you're right.
Okay.
What about Janine Turner? What about that story?
And she's on the other line right now.
There was some sort of rumor that I had something or other, but Janine Turner's like really religious or something, and I wouldn't want her to sue me or whatever. I've never said I had relations with Janine Turner. My life, many of the people that I've known, it's private.
Who's Janine Turner?
She's an actress who was around, and of course, once their career goes to shit, they become religious.
She was back in the 50s?
She's not Judith Light.
No,
that's all you need to know.
No. You don't know who Janine Turner is, really, Kevin?
No, I don't.
Wow, you don't even go back to the 90s. Garrett, do we have Janine Turner talking about her new life or whatever it is? What was her show?
She was in Northern Exposure.
Northern Exposure.
Oh,
Friday Night Lights.
Do we have her, please, Garrett? Janine Turner.
Steel Magnolias.
Yeah. Right. She's been around. All right, well, thanks a lot. Let's go to... Here we go. Janine Turner. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Janine Turner. Welcome to Christoga, Christian Yoga. Yoga-filled body, Christ-filled soul.
Yeah.
Drawing your hands back beneath your shoulders. Inhale. Exhale your shoulders above your head.
It's Christ Yoga, Kevin.
And extend your arms.
Christian Yoga.
Inhale.
I like that.
No,
Exhale
Christ
to the
Yoga.
Right. Inhale to center. Exhale to your left. Inhale to center. Exhale your arms behind your
Where's
head.
Jesus in
Inhaling,
all of
extend
this?
your arms, invert your palms. Exhaling round through the spine.
Yeah, where is Jesus?
What a fabulous opportunity to spend a half hour
Turn it up.
stretching and toning your body and worshiping with Jesus Christ at the same time.
Can you believe it?
More, please. Inhaling, rising, lifting your hands, lifting your hands.
Can you believe it? It's yoga with Jesus.
Exhaling.
Wow.
No, I would never have gone out with Janine Turner. Why? Because I'm sure before she found... Yeah, right. 2 workout and... Oh, Garrett, please give me 2 workout and 1 as a drop also. Please.
Is that a new thing?
I'm sure, yes. I'm sure that before Janine Turner...
Idea, though. That is such a brilliant idea.
Janine Turner did... Christ Yoga, I'm sure she was a 3-alarm asshole who would have had to sit through whatever bullshit she was laying out before you did screw her, and I never would have done that. What an idiot. God forbid. You know what?
You got to get her on the show for a guest. All right, Sears, if you're listening, book Christine Turner.
Janine Turner. How could you not? The woman was an Emmy Award-winning actress. You know what? It just proves you were stuck. You're stuck in some horrifying background life. You've got to stop it. Mm-hmm. I mean, that I even know who she is weird.
What about Amelia Earhart?
Yeah. Let's go to Gary.
Did they find her yet?
They have found her. They are close to finding her. They sure are.
They found some freckle cream or something.
They sure did. They did. They found her freckle cream, and they found they found a tampon made out of wood, Garrett.
Oh.
But they think that she landed on some island and lived there
and died.
Wow.
Yeah, and died. Yeah.
All she had was her pimple.
There was only one island where they could have landed.
No freckles when they found her.
Here's the only thing they could have done. And also, she flew with like a companion or maybe a lover or whatever who was an idiot when it came to navigation. And they got lost, and they're in the Pacific Ocean. So for those of you that are pilots or know this, you go down below the cloud level, and they found this abandoned island. And they believe she either crashed outside of it or maybe landed on it. They couldn't feed themselves, so she probably starved to death.
What about all the fish?
Yeah, well, they can. If you know how to catch them, you can't get. You can't just.
Paul Ryan, because he can catch them with his hands.
If you don't have bait and you don't know how to make a hook out of something, how are you going to catch a fish?
I can catch a fish.
No, you couldn't.
I'm very resourceful.
Garrett, how do you make a net?
With
How do you make
palm leaf string things.
Kevin.
Don't you make a spear and then you throw it into the water?
Guys, difficult. That's why Survivor was great in the beginning before they let models and actors and actresses go on it and all that shit. In the beginning, they really had to figure shit out. They really did. And they don't do that. It's really sad. That would be
all the lawyers got involved.
It's like Bear Grylls or whatever his name is. Those guys, they show you some real shit to do. That's hard stuff.
Like staying in a hotel?
No, it's hard shit that when they show you the crap.
Taking a break and nap?
Gary of Connecticut. It's Jay Thomas. Yes, Gary, go ahead.
Jay, hi.
Yeah.
I need your advice with something. I have a situation that happened to me that when my parents signed their house over to me and my sister.
Right.
After they passed away. Well, actually, what happened was before they passed away, one of my daughters was molested by a family member.
Yes.
We accumulated a lot of medical bills, like $75,000 worth, to keep her from killing herself.
Yes.
And what I did was, because I was worried that maybe I got some bad advice, but I was afraid that if I went for bankruptcy, they would put a lien on my parents' house or something.
Yeah, but wait a second. Before we go any further, your sister has no interest in you and thinks you're, fucked up with money and everything else, so she kept the house.
I quit claimed it to her to protect the asset. So now she's got, full interest in that. But, with the understanding that...
guess what? Your sister doesn't think much of you or of your daughter or anything. She just thinks you're a nut, right? She thinks you're unreliable.
Well, but it's not her own. It's because of not her own because of the guy she's living with.
Right. That's exactly right.
He's turning her against me,
Well, look, you know what? You let it go. Move on. Your sister doesn't like you, doesn't believe you're, valuable, and you've spent her money or whatever, and you've signed a paper that gave her the rights to the house, and that's the ball game. She'll beat you in court day and night.
So I just have to walk away and forget about it.
Am I wrong about what your sister thinks of you or not?
Have you thought about
No, the only thing she might have a negative. Well, it's guilt by association. My ex-wife.
But yes, exactly. Your ex-wife is something also. So you've made bad choices, and your sister doesn't think you're going to make good choices.
I guess, but
well, as you're talking to me now, you sound like an erratic person. I don't know a thing about you, but you sound erratic to me, and I think you probably act. So what you'd have to do is walk away and then stop acting erratically.
He sounds handsome to me.
He sounds handsome, and stop acting erratically, and then maybe your sister would think differently of you. But as long as you have crazy ex-wives, and sadly your child that had to go through all of that stuff, your sister just thinks you're going to piss the money away.
Maybe you should change teams.
Yeah.
What do you say, Kevin?
Why don't you change teams?
Change teams? Oh, no thanks.
Okay, just asking.
He was polite about it. He said no.
Would your sister think better of you if you were gay?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it would matter.
Yeah.
But,
all right. Well, Gary, I can't help you. I think you've been, the mark of the devil is on you, and so your sister.
We could have a nice wedding.
Thank you, Gary. Gary of Connecticut. Am I wrong about that? Did he not sound erratic a little bit?
He just wanted some help.
No, did he not sound erratic to you?
Well, he's maybe been nervous going on the radio.
No. The ex-wife, the sadness with the daughter, everything he would say, he would add on something, the problems.
Yeah.
You see, I could talk to you all day, and I can't add any problems on to the, you know what I mean, Garrett? Yeah. I can't. Okay, XY happened, and now there's no Z, right? There's no Q, R, S, T, U. You know what I mean? There's just X, Y, and Z. Yeah. You know what? The best thing I did all day today was remember the letters prior to X.
Yeah, but about U and V and W?
I don't have those either. I don't have any U's and V's.
Hey, how about the Saints, Jay?
You know what? I'm going to tell you this, and I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. The kid, Robert Griffin III, was great. The thing they put together was fantastic, the offense. And the Saints are without coaches. They're without main players. They've got all kind of crazy shit going on. Are you kidding? I don't think anything good's going to happen.
The Jets are going all the way.
Woo! They might. And I'm just going to, I'll watch football, but no way. I feel badly for them and everything else. And Drew Brees got $100 million, and that was distracting. And we don't even know who the fucking coach is. I mean, if you could not have coaches, Garrett, right? They'll fire every head coach and just let the team play. If the Saints do well, Garrett, why have a head coach?
Yeah.
Why? Have the quarterback call plays, have a person that helps the quarterback, have a defensive coach, and,
it's like
have
the
replacement.
they use here.
Thank you very much.
And
All
they
right.
come up with their own uniforms.
Kevin, you were great today. Thank you very much. Kevin Meaney tonight will be at 24th Street and 6th Avenue? What's the name of the place? What is it?
The People's Improv Theater on Park Avenue and 24th Street.
Whatever. Tomorrow I'll still be here. All right, bye-bye.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Garrett.